Howdy, folks, and welcome to the home of adventures in Alberon. Although this week we are not playing our main campaign, we are stepping away for just a week because we have Miles and Allie who are away for today. But we are joined by our special guest, Olive. So, hello, thank you very much for
Hello.
joining us for this little one-shot adventure. Today we're playing a one-shot called High Noon Low Sun, or sorry, High Noon Red Sun, which is set in canon to our campaign. So the events here are happening. We're winding back the clock a little bit. They're happening about 25 days prior to what's happening in our main campaign. So for those of you keeping score at home, that is the second of the Claws of Winter. It is a Sunday. It's probably right around mid-morning when we start. But before we get there, a couple of quick announcements. First of all, Sophie Bischoff, who's done like a whole bunch of really cool watercolored paintings for us, did something else, which is sort of now a memorial to Gunter because he died in between the beginning and the end of this painting. But it does show some of the stages of Gunter's 287-year-old life or long life that we haven't really gotten to see yet. So it shows Gunter as the Gazelle, one of the criminal kind of standout figures of a certain era, and then Gunter as the very very young Gunter, the youngest that we've ever seen him, with the love of his life, Brunhilde, and his rival Siggy. So that's all up on our Instagram and our Twitter. That's Alberon RPG and both of those things. And then finally, up on our website, which is going to get updated tomorrow, and you'll see the cast list for this up in the character bio part of the website. But also, a Dungeoneer's Guide to Dominion is going to be updated again. It is going through like 55 pages now, and it details a little bit about a region called the Somber Cape, which Tina and Matt, you guys haven't gone to yet. It's kind. You were very close to it. You walked like right. The Silas Woods is kind of the northern border, and so you guys got really close. But you
But
didn't
then
quite
I
make it
died.
in. But then you died. But Akka, of interest to them, the Somber Cape is where the Goliath were driven out of, and thus responsible for the whole place that you grew up. Um, but for today, we're stepping away from that, and I think that's the last of our announcements. Oh, of course, the final thing for music and sound effects and all those kinds of things, we're using Sirenscape, which is a digital tool set that you could use to add a little bit of sound to your games or some really chaotic energy to your church event or whatever you want to use it for. But check out Sirenscape for that kind of thing. And with that, that is it for our announcements, and I can get us into our game. All right. All of you are jostled against the bars of the iron cage that's around you. As the covered wagon's wheels bounce over cobblestones, you feel that you are alone in this cage. Some of you, a little bit groggier than others, are able to look around for the first time. You see elements of canvas that are thrown over top and kind of stretched to cover. Some of you, who've been awake for a little bit longer than others, know that you are within a cart that has metal ribs over top, that has leather stretched across as a measure of waterproofing as well as protection. But as you go along, you can feel the cart jolt, and this jolt on the metal is what brings a few of you to groggy consciousness. But looking around you now, all of you find, or each of you finds yourselves in this particular circumstance. Just bars in front of you, surrounded by canvas. You can hear voices talking, many of them quite rough. But as you travel, you hear murmurs and arguments and hushed, worried tones kind of beneath it all. As this is happening, are any of you doing anything? All right. Uh, the wheels continue to progress and suddenly become a little bit slower and smoother. You feel the cart just kind of hit something, and then the wheels transition into a different sound. Whereas before you could hear them steadily bumping over cobblestones, all of a sudden it seems a little bit more gritty, uh, as if grains of sand are being crunched between the wheels and rocks. Uh, from far ahead, you can hear a voice. Um, That doesn't look like gold to me, Wyatt. Wait, Mr. I, look. I caught a couple of strong ones. I know the assembly is looking for people like them, more resilient, stronger. Some of them even use magic. Take them, and I'll still pay, but just give me more time. And all of you realize now you can hear off in the distance, above all of the din around you and the cart, which has suddenly come to a stop. You feel the shift in momentum, and you slide forward a little bit, each cage into each other. All of a sudden, it has gone very quiet. At this point, are you guys doing anything?
We're just sitting in our cages.
Yep. Right now, there's just canvas around it. You could reach out and try to grab the canvas or move it or something, but
Well, we're shackled, right?
your hands are currently shackled. Your feet are not. Okay. You can hear that voice again. I don't like people changing the terms without asking. Show me. And you hear suddenly the sounds of footsteps and then Gritty kind of hurrying towards you. Matt, the cloth is ripped away from your cage. You see the sun, late morning, high in the sky. It almost blinds you. The sky above is blue and crisp with just thin ribbons of white clouds laced throughout. And you can smell dry dust, almost like a desert if you've been to the Kuatar Badlands or similar regions, but you smell also ocean air and salt, the sea. You feel the cage shift suddenly, and then you are falling. And shackled as you are, you cannot protect yourself. Make a dexterity saving throw, please. The noise is going to be something, huh?
That is a 18.
Okay. You fall. And even though your hands are shackled, in your age and your past experiences, you've developed a surprisingly keen reflex. You're able to pull yourself around and you catch it mostly on your back. You take 4 points of bludgeoning damage, halved to 2. You see the cage just roll and sand kind of pours between the bars. You see Olive. The cloth on your cage shifts in this movement, and you're able to see a little bit of what's happening. Matt, as you try and peel yourself up to a sitting or crouching position, could you describe what she sees?
A older looking dwarf woman with like a little bit of the chinny chin hairs. Kind of like wrinkly, but wrinklier than a dwarf her age would be, unless she smoked fully. And yeah, I guess that's
Fantastic. And your name is
Enyaba.
Enyaba the dwarf. Fantastic. So you see this kind of shriveled up, disheveled dwarf, the hair kind of tossed and crazy with the fall. You can see that they're shackled, similar to you, and wearing a similar outfit, although obviously much smaller. But you can see Tina all of a sudden. You feel your cage move. It moves a little bit and kind of like tilts forward and then falls back. You hear a little bit of swearing, and then the cage is kicked from behind. The clock flies away. You hit the pavement hard. Sand spraying across your face. Makes it a dexterity saving throw, please.
I miss Shay, but that's a 22.
Me too. You manage to catch yourself a little bit with your hands and cushion yourself, just pulling the muscles taut. You lower yourself a little bit and still hit your chin. Take 2 points of damage, halved to 1. But you've been through worse. You pull yourself up. Could you describe what everybody else sees?
Sure can. Human, female, probably late 20s. Dark auburn hair that was probably in a tight braid at one point, but is now coming loose.
You can see this human pull themselves upright. These cages are on their sides, but you guys now kind of either standing, crouching, whatever it is you want to be doing. Olive, suddenly the cloth pulled away and the sun strikes you.
Yeah.
You suddenly feel the cage spun. The whole world spins with it, and the cage leans and then falls. Could you make a dexterity saving throw as well?
13.
13. No problem. You don't catch yourself. You mostly just mash into the ground, but given who you are and the size of your body, it doesn't really hurt you. You
Okay.
take 6 points of bludgeoning damage, halved to 3.
Okay.
You taste dust as it catches into your mouth and nose. But as this is as the cage rolls to a slow, could you please describe what everybody else sees?
You see a female half-orc. She's got some gray skin, got some teeth coming up from her underbite. Menacing.
Very menacing looking, very currently dusty orc.
Yeah.
But you hear from just beyond your point of vision. So what? You want me to suspend the assembly sentence for what is this? You see again, or you see for the first time now stepping into view, a chainmail clad leg and then an arm, sleeves clinking with each step. Wears a fine black jacket with faint pinstriping of charcoal gray mixed into the black, a spotless white tunic beneath this, and a hood that rises up from the black shirt that masks these crimson eyes from the sun. His skin is tanned with the faintest cast of red, which is just a little bit too vibrant to be a sunburn on one so used to the sun. His hair, you can see, runs down to behind the neck, just above the shoulder, and appears to be slicked back. He's handsome, but as you see these crimson eyes, the look of them is not a kind one. You feel he calculates your value like objects. You see now the source of the other voice, this much more nervous one, a thin, kind of reedy looking man, terrible teeth, and a nose that's been broken at least twice. I would say, gotta figure out the new names. Sophia, right? You would recognize this as one of the people who captured you originally. And given your passive perception and the things you overheard, this is Wyatt. Just give me 20 days. That's all I ask. Just a wee bit over a fortnight. I've done right by you, haven't I? You've asked for bodies. I provided. They needed to be fresh. Hey, no worries. I'll get it done. They have to be extraordinary and delivered alive. That borders on fucking insanity. Excuse me for saying so, but it is. But you know what? Wyatt's a man of his word. He got it done. And you can see this other individual kind of take another step forward. He was actually referred to as Ire. Right, Wyatt. Great. You left out the part where you lost an incredibly valuable, impossible to replace relic that the assembly entrusted to you.
Idiot.
You've seen another mechanical fucking dragon, Wyatt? Have you? They don't just spring out of the sand. And he turns and looks you all over one more time. Can each of you make a charisma check?
Yes.
That's a 17.
Okay.
12.
I got 21.
All right. Well done. 21 and Sophia 17. And Yaba, that was 12.
Yep.
And Yaba. Suddenly, you hear a metal click ominously as Ire's arm produces a strange metallic object with a single 7-inch long metal tube that protrudes from a worn wooden grip. You can see that there is a cylinder loaded with strange objects, 6 of them, set to match the barrel. There's a thin sprig of metal that curls underneath the frame, and Ire's finger rests gently on it. And Ire, still looking at Wyatt, says, "Tell me, motherfucker, why shouldn't I spread their brains in the sand?" You see Wyatt become visibly paler. Are any of you doing anything?
I'm gonna try to just inconspicuously scoot slightly to the side to
Okay.
not be in his way.
The cage on its side is probably about 4 feet in total. So moving from side to side, you feel and you can see this dark hole where the barrel begins, and it follows you as you do this. It would be very hard to move in this space.
Well, I'm fucked.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything?
Can I try to wriggle? Well, are my shackles in front of me or behind me?
In front of you.
Can I try to hook one to my teeth and like pull it off my hands?
You can certainly try. Are you trying to like pick the little lock part with the tusk, or are you trying to just like rip it off? Just strength based.
Ooh, strength based.
Okay,
She's
yeah.
trying to like really.
Make an athletics check.
Okay. Maths. 22.
22. With a 22, no problem. So in this moment, while this gun is pointed at Inyaba, this old dwarf, maybe like 5 feet away from you, you feel like you have just enough time to kind of move, and you hook the tusk underneath and yank. The metal itself squeals with this painful pull and then snaps. Your hands are now both separate. You still have the shackles around them, but they're free. Seeing this, you can see almost in slow motion Wyatt's eyes turn to you. You can see Ayer's eyes turn to you, and the barrel beginning to drift up in your direction. But with that, I need everybody to roll initiative because we're going fast.
Back.
Nice. Oh wait, I have bonus to an air advantage on initiative. Still nice.
Okay.
I rolled a 7.
Okay, hang on one sec. You guys got real lucky.
Nice.
Oh god.
All right. Anybody get a natural 20? All right. 25 to 20?
22.
22. Not bad.
Nice.
And Yaba at 22. 20 to 15.
16.
Okay. 16 for Sophia. And then Ommieh, what'd you get?
7.
You're still not going last.
Wow.
Okay, so right now, this is going to begin with Inyaba, then Sophia, then Ommieh, then Ayer, and then Wyatt, and then other external parties will have a chance to act. So, Inyaba, you're up. Sophia, you're on deck. Inyaba, what do you want to do?
All right. I think with the gun no longer being pointed at my face, I'm gonna be like, "Hey!" And I'm gonna use a bonus action to enter a raid.
Okay.
Wow.
Go ahead and roll a d8 for me.
That is a 3.
A 3? Okay. So what does your rage look like? Is there like a certain way that it appears?
Just an angry looking dwarf.
Fair enough. You said a 4?
3.
3. Okay. So all of a sudden, as you kind of let out this low growl, very phlegmy in the back, you suddenly see behind, or anybody who's looking at Inyaba would see behind them, from almost the base of their spine, this small pink mote away from the back and drift up behind. You see it seems to spread and becomes this jellyfish-like creature that just sort of seems to almost be lurking behind your back. At the end of your turn, Inyaba, this spirit is going to, or sorry, there. This is Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. This is a brand new thing, so I'm learning about it. This spirit is going to appear within 5 feet of one creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you. So where is it appearing?
I think behind the scared looking one.
Okay. It separates, and you can see the person who you would now know as Wyatt. This really, this fucked guy, just appears. You can see he turns and just starts to react to it. At the end of its turn, that's going to explode. But we'll get there. So that's your bonus action. What else?
I'm gonna use a. I'm gonna try to just like break these shackles.
Sure, make an athletics check.
Okay. And I believe it is now at advantage because I am raging.
You are raging, yes. It is a strength.
Which is good that I am getting this because it went from a natural 1 to a 19. So
Nice.
it's now 28.
Damn. Okay.
Oh no, sorry, 24.
Very different. You two are able to stand up. You can see the shackles being broke next to you, and through the haze of the rage, you're able to just yank these shackles. They pop. You can see the collar itself actually, or the cuff itself, twists enough that your hand is able to just slide right out.
And then I guess for a free action, I'm just gonna go, where the hell am I?
Okay. You shout that out. Go ahead and roll a d6 for me, please.
That is a 5.
That's fitting. Okay. So all of a sudden, you can see this little spirit that has appeared behind Wyatt, and is in fact within 5 feet of both Wyatt and Ire. Suddenly swells once, seems to contract, and then swells one more time, and just pops. They each take. They both fail. They both each take 6 points of damage.
Nice. Didn't even do shit.
That's the stupidest thing. All right. That is your turn. That brings us to Sophia. And Ommieh, you're on deck. Sophia, what do you want to do?
I think what I'll do, reach out a hand and point at who I know would be Wyatt, and cast Create Bonfire.
Okay. So is that a dexterity saving throw?
Correct.
Okay, my man Wyatt with the 6.
Solid. That is 7 points of fire damage.
7 points of fire damage. You can see all of a sudden beneath Wyatt, the sand on the cobblestones seems to swirl as the heat and the convection lifts it off the ground, and fire replaces where that stone was. You can see Wyatt just kind of, what the fuck? And just start to try to kick it out, but it starts to spread up his boot and pant leg. He's looking kind of rough. He's just a guy.
And then do I see any small stones or pebbles around?
I would say if you want to, as a bonus action, you can just kind of snag a couple stones off the ground, yeah.
I would. And use Magic Stone.
Okay, yeah, that's part of the bonus action. So you bend down, you snag a couple of rocks, and as you begin to twist them in your hand, suddenly little motes of fire begin to dance around them. You have a couple magic stones.
Beautiful. That's
You moving anywhere? You're still within a cave.
I can't get out, so no.
Fair enough. Ommieh, you're up. What do you want to do? You are in a cage. You can see next to you this this human all of a sudden pick up these rocks, and they begin to burn within her hand. And you see in the other cage this shriveled old dwarf suddenly just get up and just swear and rip their shackles off. What would you like to do?
Well, do I still have the gun pointed in my direction?
You certainly do.
Oh, okay. Is it close enough that I can reach out and grab it, or is it not close enough? Like through the bars of my cage?
It would be a real reach. And looking at it, it's one of those situations where you feel like you could do it, but if you don't, you're going to get your shoulder wedged into the cage. So you can certainly try. Would you like to try?
Okay. Elias, she's like, I'm going to do it. So she reaches through the bars of her cage, full throttle at the gun to try to grab it.
Make an athletics check, and it's going to be opposed by his athletics check.
Okay.
Let me pull up his stat block. I hope he has something cool, because I rolled really bad. Athletics. Oh, okay. He has sick athletics, though. All right. What is yours?
12.
All right. 14. As you reach out, you can feel your shoulder just kind of get wedged between the bars. You can already see the skin, which is kind of a grayish tone, you said?
Yeah.
begins to kind of swell and get a little bit darker as the blood can't really pass through. You feel pretty well stuck. Your hand, if you move your finger, you can just touch the tip of the barrel. A little too short. That is your action. You still have movement and a bonus action.
Okay, well, I'd say, like, hey guys, I don't know you, but please help me. And then for I can't move, right? Because I'm in a cage.
You could try, but what would you do to move?
I'm gonna try to retract my shoulder from this, right?
Okay, I'll say using all of your movement, and you begin to thrash. You hear this orc who looks. First of all, this orc is jacked, and second of all, these tusks kind of brutally coming out of the lip. Shouts out for help, and then begins to just thrash in this cage. I'll say with all of your movement, you're able to free your arm, but that is the end of your turn. So you are still within this cage. Okay. It is now Ire's turn, and because he still has this gut on you, he is going to elect to not move and use his Deadeye feature. So his attacks are at advantage. The first attack is going to be against you, and so you see the finger squeeze, and suddenly there is an unearthly loud sound that emanates from this. That's a D12 that emanates from this gun. That is going to be it's advantage. That is going to be a 26 to hit. Okay. I imagine that hits, so that's going to be 11. So you take 11 points of piercing damage as all of a sudden this slug hits you in the shoulder. Your whole body lurches to one side. And then I'm going to say, I got to remember all the names. Sophia, the next shot is going to be at you. That is going to be a 27 to hit.
Yep.
You're going to take 17 points of piercing damage. Jeez. This one hits you right in the chest. Yeah. As this revolver goes, it's one shot, and you can see the hand hit the back of it. It's a second shot, and then I'm going to say, Inyaba, you're going to take the last one. That is going to be a 24 to hit. It's the lowest one, I think. That is going to be... Oh, you got lucky. 12 points of piercing damage. This kind of striking you in the shin and ricocheting off the bone. It draws a lot of blood, but it's a relatively superficial wound. Okay. That's 3 shots. That is his turn. And that's going to bring us to Wyatt. Oh.
I have a logistics question.
Sure.
So am I keeping track of my own hit points, or are you doing that?
Yes, you are keeping track of your own hit points.
Okay, that's fine.
Please, yes, very much please. I'm running a lot of stuff over here.
So many things going. Okay, that's fine.
So, that is Wyatt's turn. Wyatt's going to run. Oh, interesting point. Currently, I didn't share this with you guys yet. Let me show you where you are. If you guys look at
I did ask where the hell we were.
Yep, good. So currently, you guys are right in front of the building all the way on the north of that map. Seems to be a tavern of some sort. To the south, past all of what you can see on that map, and if somebody could put it in the Twitch chat, I would really appreciate it. There is probably another 2,000 feet, and then the ocean. Behind you and further up to the north, you can see there is like a cliff line and a few more buildings and a castle up there. But that is kind of where you guys are, just so you have a frame of reference as to what's happening around you. So Wyatt is going to run towards what you guys can see in the top left-hand corner there. It's a pair of outhouses, but that's going to take his full movement, and he's going to attempt to stealth behind them. Okay. All of you, except for Inyaba, can still see him kind of in the bushes, but for you, Inyaba, he's just vanished. But Inyaba, it is your turn, and then Sophia, you're on deck. What do you want to do, Inyaba? You are raging. Actually, interesting point. You did not. Oh no, you did take an attack, so you're still raging.
I'm going to... I'm still in the cage.
You are.
I'm going to try to break myself out of this cage.
Thank you, Tom. All right, go ahead, make an athletics check, unless there's a different way you want to do it.
Well, this guy just shot me, right? So
He did.
I'm pretty angry, so I'm just gonna be like, hey!
So using an athletics check.
Natural 20.
All right.
Wow.
So you hear this kind of, and then you have to cough because there's phlegm, but then you finish your yell. You stand up and brace with your thighs, which for a moment, almost like anime, like you see like swell to an almost like a slightly cartoonish configuration. And this old dwarf pops the metal off the door itself over and lands in the sand. You are standing upright.
I have a question. Does that count as an attack on the door?
No, that is an action. If you had wanted to make an attack on the door, you could have done that, but
Okay.
instead you shouted.
Oh, well, I was... Yeah. Ah! I guess I'm gonna run towards this guy, and to maintain my rage, I'm going to make an unarmed bonus action attack on him.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So you run forwards now.
Like, why the hell are you shooting us?
Make your unarmed attack.
Ooh, that's 13.
13. You run up and your fist hits chainmail. You feel it still hits chainmail.
Yeah.
You can feel the skin on your knuckles tear a little bit, and you pull away a slightly bloodied fist. That hurt. Anything else? All right. That is your turn, Sophia. What would you like to do? Ommieh, you're on deck.
I'm gonna have my little ball of fire appear on my shoulder.
Okay.
It acts on my initiative, but at the end of my turn.
Okay.
And how far are we apart in these cages?
You guys are only about 5 feet apart, and I would say that your cage and Ommieh's cage are technically touching.
Okay. And would you count using one of the stones for Magic Stone as a bonus action, or is it an action?
What does the spell say?
It just says bonus action.
So it's a bonus action. Well, no, so the spell says as a bonus action, I believe.
You can make the stones, but would you roll it as an action to use it, or?
One sec. I should know the spell better. Magic Stone. You or someone else can make a ranged spell attack, so that would be an action.
Okay. Wonderful. So then that's the end of my turn, and then Kindle takes his turn right after. So he's going to move off of my shoulder and transition into this aggressively cute, almost dragon-like shape with little wings, and hovers over toward this half-orc, and he's going to use his teleportation ability to move her 15 feet out.
Perfect. So, Ommieh, you can see as you look over, you shout for help, you can see this human suddenly, this little mote of fire appears in the shoulder, and it seems to almost run in the way that it moves down the arm, and as it does, you suddenly are aware that there are arms and legs, and as it takes off into the air, tiny wings, and it is this adorable, almost like a lizard dragon. Very, very small, very cute, huge eyes. And as it swings towards you, the tongue a little bit out, it appears within the bars. It reaches a tiny little hand out and touches you on the nose. You disappear and suddenly reappear out. You stumble forwards on the sand. 15 feet away, where are you moving them towards the combat or what?
Yeah, closer to combat.
Okay, so Ommieh, suddenly you reappear 5 feet to the right of this person with the pistol. You can see he's holding it out now, looking where you used to be, but you're like right on his back. This little dragon thing takes its hand away. You can just see it blink once,
And
Anything
then,
else? So that's the end of your turn, right?
That's the end of it. I'm going to move Kindle back toward me with the rest of his movement.
Okay, yeah, no problem. The movement's what, 15 feet?
30.
30? Oh, no problem. Yeah, it gets right back to you. Kind of, you see it blink once and then scurry back to where this person is still currently in their cage. That is your turn. That brings us to Ommieh. You are now free from your cage, standing right in front of the person that just shot you.
Well, as quickly as I can, I try to like swing as hard as I can at Iron's head.
Okay, so make an attack, and you can make it at advantage.
Okay. Oh shit! I rolled a 5.
Did you roll
That's
twice?
unfortunate.
No, I didn't roll twice.
So you're rolling at
Okay.
advantage because I'm going to say that this is, it's not technically flanking with anybody, but you appeared magically behind him.
Okay.
And he does not see you. So you're getting advantage on this attack.
Technically, I am right in front of him. Because
Yeah, actually, I guess that is true. Yeah, not that it really matters because it's not like a rogue thing, but yeah.
My second roll was 14.
Okay, so plus your unarmed strike, which is, I believe, your proficiency modifier and your strength score. So I want to say that's 23, something like that. It's a pretty good roll. That hits.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll damage. You strike him with an unarmed strike. You are not raging, so you don't add that extra bit of damage.
Oh yeah, I'm not raging yet. I probably should have actually. Let's see. 8 damage.
8. Okay. So you swing forwards and you crack him right on the back of the head. You can hear him just and step forwards in the sand once, the gun kind of wavering. Yeah, you punched him in the head.
Nice.
Anything else?
No, that's it. That's all
Okay.
I did.
You can see he's now kind of slowly turning in your direction. Actually, it is his turn. So he looks up. You can see these crimson eyes. He's smiling, but the eyes are angry. He kind of looks you up and down. What was your charisma score, actually? You rolled really high, didn't you?
Charisma 20.
20? Okay. And he is going to pull the gun up at you. And he is going to say, "You just made the last mistake you were ever going to make." He is going to take one of the special shots that he has. And because you're close, actually, he's going to use Deadeye too. So, this is an attack at advantage. He levels this revolver right at your head. He's going to take a headshot. That is actually not that good. That's a 14. What's your AC?
I don't know what AC means.
Your armor
Probably
class.
better.
Oh,
You're a
14.
barbarian. 15?
14.
So 14. Okay, unfortunate. So
Wait.
it does hit.
Is that strength plus constitution or dex plus constitution plus 10?
Yeah, I believe so.
Hmm.
So this is going to do a lot of damage because he's shooting you in the head. That is 13, 19, 20, 27. That is going to be 32 points of piercing damage. He levels this at you and just shoots you. You feel it kind of hit you in the side of the cheek, and suddenly you're aware of the fact that you can taste the air even though your mouth is closed. For those of you looking at this work, you can actually see the skin flapped away down the side and blood just streaking down. Yeah, that's a bad one. That is actually, technically, that is his bonus action.
No.
But so he's going to take 2 more shots and then he's going to have to wait to reload. This is going to be at you, Inyaba, because you're right there. So after this one deafening shot, you can see the whole body of the half-orc turn. 2 more shots against you. The first one is going to be a 19 to hit.
That hits, and after that hits, I'm going to use my reaction.
Okay. That's 18 points of piercing damage. And what's your reaction?
Immediately after you take damage or fail a saving throw while raging, you can use your reaction to roll on the wild magic table and immediately produce the effect rolled.
Okay. So roll d8.
That's a 1.
Okay. So all of a sudden, as you get hit by this bullet, you can see it digs into your chest. The skin separates, and there is a brief mist of blood. But then all of a sudden, the blood suspends in the air and back into the wound, and these black tendrils begin to emerge. They begin to lash out. They grow larger and longer. Each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you need to succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take damage. So who are you choosing here?
The guy who just fucking shot me.
Okay. Anybody else?
That's it. He's the only guy right now that I see. The other guys run away.
What is your spell save DC, Wild Magic
geez.
Barbarian?
Let me see what that
It's
is.
8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your Constitution modifier, so it's pretty fucking high.
Oh, okay. Then that
Wild Magic Barbarians are pretty dope.
That's a 17.
This is a great build. Okay, so fails.
Nice.
You roll a d12.
Oh my gosh. Where's my? I've like rarely used this die.
It's a barbarian die, is the d12.
I know. Where is it? There it is. That's an 11.
Oh, thank you, not 30s. An 11. Okay. These tendrils and just wrap around this individual. You, right next to you, Ommieh, you can see as they're pulling the gun away, their eyes kind of shift. And you see a little bit of that reddish pale, or that reddish kind of shine from the skin fade. As their life force is pulled through the tentacles, you can actually see the black shift to gray and pulse. You gain, I believe, 11 temporary hit points.
Nice.
In Yaba. And then the second shot against you, that's still all in his turn. The second shot against you is only going to be a 14.
That misses.
There you go. So kind of as this is pulling him back, the last shot goes wide and ting, off into the air. That is his turn. That's going to bring us to Wyatt. He is going to reach out and, seeing this, take a shot with his crossbow at you, Inyaba.
Oh man,
that's a 23 to hit.
Oh wow, that hits.
You're gonna take.
Oh wait, I can't use my reaction again. Never mind.
You're going to take 6 points of piercing damage.
That's halved because
and then you see just the head duck back into the bushes. For you, completely disappearing, but for everybody else, very easy to see.
Where's that little guy?
That is his turn. That brings us to you and Yaba. Sophia, you're on deck.
All right, I'm gonna just beat. I'm just gonna beat on this dude in front of me right now with my first attack.
Yeah, do it.
Just gotta stop shoot. Oh, he's donezo. That's 27.
27, and that's at Ire, the person in front of you.
Yes.
Okay, that hits.
All right, and then so that's gonna be an unarmed attack, which need my other rarely used die here. So that's 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And then
hits him right in the shoulder and seems to hurt. Good.
Smack him again.
Okay.
And that's gonna be a 23 to hit.
23 hits also.
And I'm gonna smack him again with my big meaty fists for
your big meaty fists. You're like an old woman.
Yes.
It's like a bulky old woman. 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
6 points of bludgeoning damage. Nice.
And then I'm going to use my bonus action to attempt to grapple this guy.
Okay. Make an athletics check as you It's the first punch is the best one. You hit kind of right in the collarbone as he pulls back around. Now, no longer paying any attention to you, man. You hit him again, kind of right in the side, and then you try to grab onto him. What was your roll? Oh my god!
It's probably gonna. Ooh! It was an 18, and then I rolled a natural 20.
Wow. He rolled a 2, so kind of a waste, but yeah, you lunge forward, and almost as if he's surprised by this bulky old woman lunging so quickly, he's not even able to get his arms up before you wrap around and kind of like a bear hug. But he is grappled.
I'm gonna kick your ass!
You can see this kind of confusion more than fear in his eyes. You've hit him, but he doesn't seem especially hurt by it, and he just kind of looks at you and says, "What's your problem, old lady?"
What's our problem?
That is your turn. Sophia, what would you like to do? You can see Ire, this tiefling now, the hood kind of down. You can actually recognize these horns that go out, like up and around and then flare out. But you can see currently grappled by this. And as she grips around, you see this old woman suddenly, as she's attacked, has gotten like a straighter and straighter back. And all of a sudden, you can see like the veins beginning to bulge out. She's a beefy old lady. And currently has like a death grip around this guy. You can see Wyatt like hastily reloading his crossbow in the bushes. People now, and you can see, are starting to panic. And actually, with the passive perception of 19, you're aware of the fact that suddenly this high noon sun, there's a faint shadow that crosses it. What are you doing?
Going to send 2 of the rocks at Ire and 1 at Wyatt.
Are you able to use? Do you have 3 attacks?
Oh, I suppose I'm using 1 then.
There you go. I'll tell you what. If you want to roll at disadvantage, you can throw 2 at once.
Sure, why not?
Sure. You take 2 of these stones, kind of moving them around each other.
Because he's grappled, is it not already at advantage?
It is. Yeah. All right. So just balances it out.
Flat?
Take those 2 rocks. Yeah.
Sick. That's a dirty 20.
Okay. A dirty 20 hits. You can roll damage for that.
Sick.
So, yeah, but as you wrap your old arms around this tiefling, you can see he kind of looks down at you, and suddenly this rock off the side of his head. The head moves almost imperceptibly to the side.
That is 8 bludgeoning damage.
8. Never mind. It moves pretty noticeably to the side. You can see the head just jerk as this rock off, and there is a spark as it does so. It is an arcane rock.
Serves you right.
And then,
Flowered.
as a bonus action, gonna cast Healing Spirit centered on Ommieh.
Okay, is that concentration?
It is, so I'll drop the stones, but...
Okay. All of a sudden, the stones in your hand become mundane. But you hold out a hand, and what does your healing spirit look like?
It looks like a larger version of my little fire friend.
Suddenly, out of flames, you see this almost like a bonfire emerge up from the ground. It's green, and as the fire flickers down a little bit, you can see the body of this lizard kind of thing emerge. And the eyes just kind of look up at you again, Ommieh. Very familiar. And can it move on the turn that it's summoned?
Yes.
Okay. So where are you moving it?
Well, it's centered on Ommieh, so...
Okay, so Ommieh, as it appears, it slithers around your leg and kind of traces its way up your body. You feel these impossibly light little feet prints, and as they touch you, you can feel the injuries that you've sustained over the last couple of days begin to heal.
For 14 points of healing.
Nice. Great healing spirit.
Does that mean my face is healed, but like skin flap that was ripped
So
off my
it goes up, and you can feel the bruises kind of coming back together. It wraps itself around your shoulders and kind of rises up looking at you, and it gives you a long lick with this comically large tongue. And as it does so, you feel the flap of skin kind of lift with it, but then it settles back down, and you feel the skin seem to almost stitch together. It's itchy, but you feel it healing. Yeah, it's a little bit better.
And that is the end of my turn, and Kindle is just going to dodge.
Okay. Take the dodge action. Good for Kindle.
Am I healed all the way, or how many?
You take 14 points of healing.
And then on the start of your upcoming turn, you're going to take more.
At the beginning of your turn, because it is your turn, Tina, go ahead and roll for healing.
That's another 10.
So you get another 10 back. This lizard licks you again on the cheek, and you feel it even more, as if this green flame left behind almost cauterizes at once and then seems to soothe like a balm. A lot of healing from a lizard.
Yeah, that was very helpful.
Ruby red
Thank
water.
you.
You can see currently
Sophia, wow.
Ire is grappled by this dwarf. Given your passive perception, that's what you see. You see people panicking around in the corners, and you can see Ommieh still kind of in the cage, having just thrown rocks and now kind of focusing on the spirit.
That's
Yeah.
for me, right?
Yeah. What do you want to do?
Well, I'm gonna continue to attack this grappled Ire. I'm gonna try for his head again.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to pop his head again.
Sure.
See if
Go
the
for it.
second time works better than the first time.
Yeah, why not?
Oh. Can I enter a rage now?
So I'll say at the beginning of your turn.
What I was gonna do.
At the beginning of your turn, you can enter a rage. So for Ommieh, what does that look like?
It's quiet. She doesn't erupt in a roar. But you can see like her eyes just get this very menacing look about them. And her whole body actually just starts shaking just a little bit because she's so furious.
Sure. So you can see this orc as she takes another step closer, and Yaba, you're in a good position to see this. It's almost as if the noon sun hits a perfect point and shadows are cast over the brow. It looks significantly more menacing. You don't see the eyes anymore, just the tusks, and you can see this slight tremble. So yes, you are raging. What would you like to do as an action?
I'm going to try to punch this guy in the head.
Okay, so roll at advantage.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 20 first.
Okay, that's so a natural 20?
Yep.
All right. So for a natural 20, when you roll the damage, you double the amount that's rolled on the dice, and then you add your modifier afterwards. So roll the damage for that. So roll the damage for that attack.
Okay. Okay. Let me see what my damage would be. Okay. 4.
So you rolled a 4?
Yeah.
So
no, I rolled it 2.
Okay, so that becomes 4.
Yep.
And then you add your modifier.
Okay, that's 4.
Okay, so that's 8 points of damage. So
Okay.
did you also add the extra for your rage? Because when you rage, you get an extra.
That's
okay,
not
so that's 2 more. So
Yep.
10 points of damage. So minus. As you begin to tremble, you reach back and you can feel the muscles almost go taut. You can almost hear them like wood being twisted in your hand, and then you fling forwards and you deck him. You hit him in the chainmail, and you can hear the elements of chain bend under your fist. It's a good hit. Anything else?
Nice. Well, he's already grappled.
I believe you get 2 attacks as a barbarian with extra attack. So you can hit him twice. If you wanted to hit him again.
Well, yes. I'm going to hit him again if I can.
Right. Yeah, make a second attack.
That makes sense. Okay. Do I have to roll to see if I hit him, right?
Yep.
Okay. I rolled a 1.
All right. So
you roll at advantage.
That's thank you. 17.
Okay, significantly better. That hits. So go ahead and roll damage again.
Okay. Okay, 8. That's and then plus 2. That's 10.
10. Okay. So it's funny. The critical hit and the non-critical hit about the same amount. 54. You reach back. The first one strikes in. You feel the metal bend. You hit the same part again. Not quite as hard, but you feel it sink in. Those are 2 pretty good shots. And yeah, but it's almost hard to keep track or keep a hold on this individual because these punches are shifting both of you.
Yeah.
They're strong. But that is Ommieh's turn. It is Ayer's turn. He's grappled. So he is going to be an attack at disadvantage. Okay, well, he's kind of forced to use Deadeye, but it evens out because it would be disadvantage because he's grappled. He is going to, still holding the gun, kind of try to angle it towards you, Inyaba. And
foot.
You know what? He has to reload. So as an action, he is going to reload. But then as a bonus action, he is going to use leg shot on you and Inyaba. So this is a disadvantage. That is going to be a 19 to hit.
Ooh, that hits.
Okay. So I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
All right, and I need you to do a wild magic surge.
Okay, roll the d8 first, then.
That's a 6.
Okay.
And it was Constitution save?
Yes, Constitution save.
Then that is a 25.
Okay. So that's a save. You do not get knocked prone. You feel the shot sink into your calf, but in your rage, you feel... Oh, and actually, interesting point. You're raging, right?
Yes.
So you are taking 11 points of piercing damage, halved to 5.
Right.
But you are not knocked prone. You, as this happens, you feel the bullet enter in. Again, you feel these little dots or orbs emerge from your leg and begin to float around, and suddenly they begin to flare to life with an almost strobe-like effect of multiple colors orbiting you. And all of a sudden, these protective lights are now orbiting you. You have +1 to your AC until your rage ends.
Oh, nice.
And while within 10 feet of you, your allies also benefit from that bonus to the AC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, real well done. So this, these lights begin to go off. It's like a rave all of a sudden. The middle noonday sun, there are red, green, and blue lights just flashing all over the place.
Sandstorm starts playing.
Yeah. But so that's the lake show. That's all you can do. For his turn, Wyatt's going to try to take another shot at. It's going to take a shot at Ire. That's going to miss. So you can just see a crossbow bolt all of a sudden, Ommieh right by your face, missing Wyatt. But that is Wyatt's turn. Inyaba, it is your turn, and then Sophia, you're on deck. Sophia, you can see now again that kind of darkness, but larger, and you hear this mechanical sound, distant, up in the air, far away, but you've heard it before. You're the only one that hears this with your passive perception. And Yaba, what would you like to do?
I think I'm gonna try to disarm this dude because he keeps shooting me. So like, fuck him.
Okay, yeah. So make an athletics check and make it an advantage because you haven't grappled.
Oh, good luck, buddy. Oh, even worse luck for you, buddy. So that's a 19 plus 5, so 24.
24. That's going to be his natural 1. So you reach out, and really, it's as you're grappling him, as he's pulling it up, he shoots you in the leg. You feel the lights from the leg, and then you just smack the gun out of his hand. It just spins into the ground, going across the sand, probably about 5 feet away from you. But he is disarmed.
All right. I'm like, what did I say about shooting? And did that count as an attack? Am I able to make a second attack to smack him upside the head?
So disarm is an action.
Okay, then
You can take a bonus action attack, I believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna bonus action smack him upside the head.
Do it.
Do it. Ooh, that probably doesn't hit. That's maybe. That's a 16. Oh, wait, no, it's an advantage. That's a 16 still.
Unfortunately, you are not the Senate. That's a miss. You swing forward again. This time, your hand again hits like part of the chainmail and crunches in a little bit. No real damage. Anything else?
He is still grappled and his gun is away. That is all I want to do.
Okay. Suddenly, from above, all of you can hear this loud mechanical sound. You can feel air shifting the sand around you, and you're aware of the fact that large wings now beat down. And suddenly, in the midst of this battlefield, this mechanical dragon drops into the middle, directly between Wyatt and your little group. It smashes down into the ground, destroying some of the bushes. There's a barrel that gets obliterated that had held water, which splashes onto the tavern wall. You can see as it does through the windows, terrified faces. People are beginning to run. The crowd is becoming just a little bit more panicked. But as this dragon lands, I'll pull up its stat block here. It is this mighty clockwork dragon. You can see little gears and elements like rods with long filaments of metal that seem to work as pistons, pulling in place of musculature. You can see the eyes, not really eyes, but these glass orbs, and in the throat of it, through these constructs of metal and leather, you can see this strange red glow. It lands, it's looking at Ire, but you can see as it opens up, there is this loud kind of grinding sound. And as it stops on the side of its mouth, these two almost blowtorch-like flames emerge, and it roars again, this time producing flame. It is going to breathe fire, and I need all of you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Ooh, I have advantage on this.
You are grappling somebody, so you do not have advantage on them, unfortunately.
Oh, but I have advantage on dex against effects that you can see while not blinded, deafened, or incapacitated.
So are you letting go of this grapple?
Yeah, I think if I'm about to get toasted, I would let go.
So you release the grapple, you dive. That's going to give him a flat roll, which is great. Okay. So, Matt, what'd you roll?
19.
Okay, not bad. Tina, what about you?
18.
18. And then Olive?
14.
Okay. You have this gout of flame that just erupts. It sprays, it hits the tavern, and the water that coats the wall sublimates in an instant into vapor. You can see the glass shatter inwards with the flame, and those faces are instantly replaced by char. The bushes burn as this swath just sweeps across. There are people behind you, also caught in the flame, you'd imagine. But all of you... Well, hang on one sec, actually. I'll do... what is... math. You guys got off relatively easy. That's 38 points of fire damage that you take, Ommieh.
Okay.
The rest of you take 16 points of fire damage. As it is rounded down because you succeeded, just kind of diving out of the way. Ire is going to take the full amount.
I am also going to invoke my reaction.
Okay, roll your D8.
That is another 6, so
Another
I think
6?
it's the same.
Yeah, so it doesn't really change. These glowing lights continue to revolve around you, and as this happens, the fire goes across. The ground is now burning. You can see elements of the sand kind of hardening into plates of like a pseudo glass in places. The heat is intense. And all throughout the fire, the chaos, the dragon, there are these little lights, these little orbs that are flickering, all these rave-like lights. So that's a nice touch. That is its action. Can I do anything else? That is its turn. Sophia, what do you want to do? Ommieh, you're on deck.
I'm going to move the spirit back over to me.
Okay.
And I'm going to use it to heal me.
Okay, so it kind of slithers over and around your body. Roll your healing.
That is 15 back. And then I'm going to have Kindle teleport me out of the cage.
There you go. So 15 feet, where do you want to teleport to? You could actually, theoretically, from where your cage is now, you could teleport into a house, or you could teleport into the midst of some trees, to the door of a tavern that's on fire. Maybe not the best option, but where would you like to go?
How hidden is this group of trees? Like, is there cover in it, or no?
There's 4 trees in front of a cliffside. It's not a lot. There is some cover.
I think I'm gonna go into the house.
Okay. So all of a sudden, as this spirit heals you, you can feel that soothing, very icy hot in nature. It burns, but in a good way. All of a sudden, the other little flame lizard lands on your shoulder, licks you on the face, and you disappear, reappear in a house. You see this halfling man just looking out the window, and just surprised that you're now in his space. He is currently kneeling on a chair, his arms like rested on the back, looking out the window. You startle him, and he almost falls forwards. But you're in his home. Anything else?
Just kind of reach out to steady him, but then kind of moving so I can see out the window as well.
It's kind of like you're pushing him over. He's kind of like in the corner, but sure. That is your turn. That brings us to Ommieh. What would you like to do? You can see, so in front of you, aside from this individual that was formerly being grappled and is now on fire, the ground all around you is on fire, and you also too, you have little bits of flame that are kind of on this cloth sack that is all that you have. What are you doing?
Well, since I'm from Zarsenfall, which was a volcano of sorts, does that mean I am kind of okay with being on fire?
Do you have resistance to fire damage?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay, so then,
you do not.
Okay, that's fine. So what I'm gonna do, it's sandy, right, around me?
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna try to roll in the sand to not be on fire anymore.
Okay. So as an action, yeah, you drop down to the ground. You begin to roll. Stop, drop, and roll. It works every time. The flames are doused within the sand. Parts of the sand are hot. You feel your skin as you go down because the flames did wash across this area, but you are no longer on fire.
Okay.
You are laying down on the ground. And there's a dragon 5 feet away.
Or is that my
No, no, you can move. You can move. So you take you 15 feet to stand up, and then you have 15 more feet, I believe. Oh no, you have 40. You have 40 feet of movement. You have 25 feet of movement left.
Okay. So there are water barrels close-ish to me.
There was one about 20 feet away, and it burst with the heat. As a quick glance around, what is your passive perception? It is 15. You can see through the doorway. The door has been flung open. Within the tavern, there are other barrels, probably where they originated.
Dart towards those barrels.
Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 feet gets you to the door. You leap through, and you are 5 feet into the tavern. There's a table directly ahead of you, maybe 10 feet away, long. There are candles still going. This is like a nice little candlelit space, and you can see a couple of drinks off to the side, but the people are cowering at the far back. This thing on fire. You don't see immediately any back door, although there is, after a quick glance, one behind the bar. But you are now within the space. It is a little darker. And no more than 5, 10, 15, 20 feet away, you can see a barrel. But that is your turn, I believe.
Okay.
That brings us to Ire. So on fire now. He's going to watch you kind of just run forwards, Ommieh, and he's going to go, wait! And then as you leave, he's going to turn down and look at you and Yaba, look up at the dragon, and he's going to look down and just say, we got bigger problems. Can we team up for just a minute?
Wow.
He's going to reach down, pick up his gun, which does take him 5 feet away. So if you want an attack of opportunity, you can get it. And Yaba. What are you doing? Oh, no, you can't because you use your reaction.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So fair enough. So he moves 5 feet over, picks this revolver up off the ground, kind of pats some of the sand away from it. You can see he swings it open. This revolving barrels kind of slide out, and he reloads as an action. And then he did reload. He did reload, right. Use the bonus action to get the special shot. So then he is going to take his entire movement. Ommieh, you went into the tavern. He's going to run 5, 10, 15, 20 feet. So all of a sudden behind you, still smoking from the singed elements of this black shirt, although mostly now you can see still an area is red hot, this chainmail. He runs into the door behind you, turns, and he's going to fire at this dragon 3 times out of the door. First time is going to be a 16 to hit, which I think hits this dragon. It's mechanical. That does not. Never mind.
Ooh.
And a 23, which just hits. So that is going to be
23's just hitting. It's not great.
11, 16 points. You can see from your position in Yaba, after he darts through and turns and takes a couple shots at the door, the bullet ting, into this, and you see little elements of cogs splash out and kind of scatter across the ground. Does a little bit of damage, but that's his turn. That brings us to Inyaba. You are standing out in the middle of a burning swath of ground. There are bodies behind you. There is this dragon directly in front of you, the head kind of slowly turning to your direction. What would you like to do?
Mechanically, is this creature considered more than one size larger than me?
It is a huge construct. So you are medium? Yes, it is.
Okay. Then I will not attempt to grapple it. I will attempt to run the fuck away.
Okay.
So I just saw them all run into the tavern.
Yes.
I'm going to follow them into the tavern.
Okay, no problem. That is going to provoke attacks of opportunity. And I think given... I can't do that as an attack. Okay. It's just going to swing its tail around to hit you.
All right. I'm going to hit it then on my way by.
I don't know if you are.
Response.
That's a 15 to hit, but technically it rolled a natural 1. So it's
nice.
yeah. So it's it actually does miss. You, as you're running forward, the tail out, and this old dwarf, stocky, kind of bleeding from these injuries, you just hop right over it nonchalantly and run into the tavern.
So before I do, since it attempted to attack me, while I'm in range of it, I'm gonna try to smack it a couple times, be like, "Hey, don't try anything stupid."
So its reach with its tail is 15 feet. So you can attack it before you start running if you want, but otherwise it does have range on you. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm going to try to smack it a couple times. It tried to hit me. So
punch a metal dragon. What could go wrong?
Yeah. Everything for it. So the first hit is a 27.
27 hits?
Yeah.
Wow, punching a dragon.
I'm going to roll the second attack now, assuming that the damage that I do with my unarmed strike is not going to slay this foul beast.
Hey, you never know.
The second one is an 18, so that's
18 misses. Yeah.
All right. Well, I got one good punch on a metal dragon, so, and that's 11 bludgeoning damage.
11 bludgeoning damage. Yeah, you really do. You can see this area that's smoking from where Ire shot it, and you reach over and punch it right in. You reach in, you grab something, it's hot. It burns your hand, but you yank out a bunch of wires and springs. There's a doing, this little part goes flying by your face, and you dart in. You can have a handful of cogs if you want, or you could just throw them into the sand. They're hot.
Are they so hot that they're gonna burn me?
No, not at this distance from the actual throat. So yeah, you're fine. You run it to the inn. 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. You have 25 feet of movement?
35.
35. Because you agreed to help Iron, you are considered an ally at this moment. You can pass through his space because he's standing in the door. You get 10 feet beyond. You're standing right next to Ommieh. Outside of this, you can see the dragon again just kind of roar and move. Sophia, again, you all of a sudden are aware of the fact that there is more happening here. There's something weird about the light. Just give me 1 second here.
Besides the rave lights?
Besides, okay, and so worth noting, actually, yeah, that's right. These little lights follow you in. So these horrified people hiding and cowering in the corner, the flames starting to consume the building. All of a sudden, a rave enters. You can see like little points of light all across this place. Yeah, it's real weird. Hang on one sec here. All of a sudden, I got to remember your name, Sophia. You are aware of the fact that the light is changing. The sun high overhead, it should be broad daylight. This should be the brightest time of the day. It's as if a smog has passed over the sun. It's beginning to come almost like an orange light. And then all at once, as you peer out an element of the glass, you can see it's like somebody's pouring red paint over a dome stretched across the sky. And though you can see through it, you can still see the sun. Everything begins to ooze into a red tint. And in front of you, you can see just a red sky over top. The sand beneath you casts now with like a sinister red sheen. You can see the dragon actually looking up. You can see some of these people looking up. And all of a sudden, you're aware of the fact that voices are not just screaming from your immediate vicinity. You can see the dragon turn one more time and then off in the direction of the outhouse. You see the outhouse splinter into wood as it steps on it. You hear from off in the distance through all the din, "Watch it!" And then just you see Wyatt lifted by the tail, lands hard on the back, and then you see this dragon disappear. There's chaos outside, and this building is on fire. But for the moment, I'm going to take you out of combat. What are you guys doing?
I think I still want to grapple this dude.
Okay. Make an athletics
Fight's
check.
over. You tried to shoot me.
Make an athletics check if you really want to, yeah.
Oh, I dropped my die. How's a 19 do?
A 19 on second athletics. It's not going to beat his 25. So, yeah, he's got a really good athletics. He rolled really shitty the first time. You reach out again to grapple him, and he just smacks your hands away. You can feel there is a gauntlet on underneath whatever element of kind of cloak or cloth is over top. The gun's still in his hand. He turns down to you. You see these crimson eyes blazing. There's an inner light behind them. But the tiefling just kind of looks, "What's your problem?"
You shot
at the window and just kind of looks out. "Yeah, well, that was in the past. We got a present to worry about." He goes and pulls the door shut, and to a certain extent, it dims the kind of shouting that you hear. Although I would say at this point now, Ommieh, you're aware of the fact too. Your rage kind of dying down, the blood beginning to kind of ooze away from your ears, no longer beating intently. You hear other sounds. There's something else happening to the north. You can see the few people who had been cowering in the back now kind of slinking out over the bar, this back door. It is the three of you, and the fire is beginning to kind of creep up the wall that is on the west side.
Can I do something here?
Yeah, you certainly can. What do you want to do?
I stop people who are trying to escape and say, "Hey, does anybody know what the fuck is going on here?"
Sure. Make an intimidation or persuasion check. Your choice.
Okay, well, definitely intimidation here.
Okay, so you're saying this in like a scary way.
Yeah, I'm like, guys.
What the fuck is going on?
Oh, 29.
29.
Yes.
You can see the last person to go out is this really drunk-looking old guy, long beak-like nose, big mole on the top of his, like right between his lip and his cheek. You pull him back as he spins around, the eyes kind of wild. You can see froth in his mouth, clearly very drunk. But his eyes go wide, and as you yell, like, "What the fuck is going on?" He just kind of looks at you and just like grabs you by the shoulders and shouts, "The banner is burning! The banner is burning! By the red skies!" And he pushes you off, and you see he just runs out the door through the flames. "The dead return!" And he just sort of vanishes into the smoke and the fire. What are you guys doing?
I'm going to make my way out of this halfling's house after saying thank you.
Sure.
And I'm going to use up the rest of this healing spirit before it goes away.
Sure, so you exit. You could see this guy just kind of look at you strangely, close the door, and you just exit and shut the door behind you, presumably. You emerge out into this fire-strewn kind of road. You can see now, looking to the north, over top where this tavern is, the tavern beginning to be consumed by flames from the west side. In what's left of the town, or the remainder of the town to the north, you can see this mountain range that borders. I'm blanking on the name of the mountains, which is terrible because I designed them. But you can see this mountain range that separates the rest of the gated marsh region up to the north. And through that, you can see movement, an unusual movement. Not that you guys or any of you really have been here, with the exception of you, Ommieh. But there's figures beginning to move into the city. Dozens of them.
In a glance around, do I see any of my equipment and things?
Make a perception check.
Got any smokes?
Oh, I can't math. 26.
Okay. You just scan with your eyes, and as a druid, the first thing that stands out to you is not the charred bodies of a human or another that seems to be maybe an elf or a half-elf. Hard to tell. The damage is pretty bad. You can see the dead horse still attached to the cart that you came in on. The cart engulfed in flames, the horse kind of blackening. You can see elements of your gear still on this cart. A lot of it burning pretty badly, but 26, you can see still kind of poking out, almost cool and serene and not catching on fire, a staff poking from the back of the seat.
Wants it.
Okay. You go forward. You get close and the heat is intense. How are you going to grab this?
I'm going to have Kindle help me.
Okay.
I'm going to have him go in and kind of move it over.
Okay. Does he have health, Kindle?
Yep, he does. He's also immune to fire.
Immune to fire?
Yep.
Fantastic. Scampers right in. You can see the fire just go over the body, and where it touches it, it shifts into different colors, almost like when you burn wrapping paper. But it streaks through and makes it easy to keep track of them. Goes and kind of curls up around the staff. What is the strength of this creature?
It is 10.
10?
Mm-hmm.
Make an athletics check for this tiny little lizard.
How's that? 19!
Wow.
You see the tail seem to almost stretch to its furthest length and wrap around the staff and then tug, and it just falls over. But it's enough for it to fall out of the cart and onto the sand. You see the little bits of flame just die on this magical item. It is untouched.
Wonderful. Do I see anything else in there, or is that it?
You can see the rest of your gear, but it not being magical, it is crispy.
Got it.
Crispy.
And then do I see where my fellow prisoners went?
Through the window that halfling was seen, you would have seen Ommieh run in.
Okay.
The way the window is positioned, actually, Inyaba is just a little too short, and you wouldn't have seen them go in, but yeah, you can see the half-orc.
Okay. We'll make my way over.
All right. You make your way through, and as you do, you can turn, and now you can see these figures that are moving through the upper part of this town, over top the tavern. Still maybe a couple 100 feet away, but there is certainly a battle that's going on. It's weird in the way that it's happening. You don't see arrows flying through or magic streaking through the air. It's a strange attack, but you can't see too much of the details at this distance.
Okay.
But you enter the tavern, and for the rest of you, you can see now, Ommieh, as soon as this guy streaks out into the flames, the door behind you opens, and this druid walks into the building. It is now the three of you and Ire within this space, the fire creeping up and now kind of beginning to lick the ceiling. Somewhere off in the distance, you hear a glass shatter from the heat.
I'm grabbing a drink.
And you watch as Inyaba just walks behind the bar, which is, you see little bits of the ceiling falling onto it on fire, just kind of brushes some of them onto the ground, which smolders and then dies, and then begins to pour a drink. What do you, there's whiskey, some kind of clear liquid, and then there's beer.
I'm going to take the whiskey and the beer, and I'm going to take some beer, and I'm going to pour like a shot of whiskey in it.
Great. So, okay. So you make a bomb. You drop the whiskey in, and as it fizzes up and kind of runs over, you make a Constitution saving throw at advantage as you are a dwarf. And hello, Isunoa.
That's it's gonna be a save. It's 23.
So you just drink the whole thing, no problem. Foam running down the side of your mouth, catching into the little chin hairs that you have going on. Yeah, it's kind of shitty, but you know it gets the job done.
I don't give a shit.
It's warm too. It's everything in here is pretty warm.
Yes.
I've had
Know what the
worse.
clear liquid is?
Sorry?
What is the clear liquid? Is that just alcohol of sorts?
Make an investigation check.
Okay. Well, let's see. 16.
Okay. Shoo, you take out the cork and you sniff it. It is aggressively alcoholic. This is like a high proof alcohol of some kind. Probably pretty brutal to drink. It'll definitely get the job done. Certainly flammable. And so you kind of like pull it away from the fire a little bit.
Seems useful somehow.
Could be.
So are the enemies close enough? But they're above me, right? Or a little bit behind?
You have no idea. As far as you can tell with your passive perception, you guys are out of danger save the fire that's beginning to consume the building that you're in.
Can I just hold on to this for a little bit? It's in a bottle
Yeah.
that I can carry. All right, I'm just holding
Sure.
on to it for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, you can add high proof alcohol to your inventory.
Okay.
So what are you guys doing?
Ayer's still in the room with us, right?
Yes, Ayer is still kind of like looking out the door and trying to figure out what's going on.
I'm gonna walk over close to him and... What the hell did you do?
He looks down for just a second and then looks back. Yeah, this isn't me.
Do I believe him?
Make an insight check.
That is... 11?
11. Hard to tell. He's tough to read. Just as a baseline, you don't know a ton of tieflings, and this one seems to be kind of holding this very put together facade at the very least that makes him difficult to really glean anything from. He plays cards pretty close to the chest.
Oh.
So what do we do next, then?
Well,
Can
that
I
kind
go
of
up?
depends. Good.
Are there still turns going on? Sorry.
No. So you guys are out of initiative, so you know you can do what you want to
Okay. So I go up to Ayer, and like he's wearing like a nicer outfit, right? Like a suitish type thing.
do. It's charred now. There's like a lot of smoke and fire that's taken over. You can see a lot more of the chainmail underneath. But yeah, at one point it was pretty nice.
Okay, well that doesn't help me anymore. Can I try to intimidate him into telling me something?
What do you say to him?
I say, you know what's going on, bitch, and you're gonna tell me right now.
Make an intimidation check.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, 19 plus 9 seems pretty high.
That is.
28.
28. So, Sophia, you go over, you just ask him, what the hell? Like, what's he doing? He says it's not him. He's loading bullets into this revolver. And as he does, Ommieh, you walk up and you kind of try to spin him around. He resists at first, thinking that it's Sophia, but then you grab him with the other hand and just pull him around. He looks up at you, kind of beginning to complain, but then stops for a second. He looks out the window and he says, look, the assembly doesn't have anything like this in its arsenal. I wish we did. I've never seen the sky become fucking red. So no, I really don't know what's going on, but we got to figure out how to get out of here at the very least. And you look up, you can see the flames beginning to now crawl across the ceiling. The central timber that's holding the roof up is beginning to get fire spreading across it. You would imagine once that goes, the entire roof will collapse.
And looking at this, is it magical or non-magical fire?
For you, who is very intimately familiar with fire, this is non-magical fire.
Okay.
I'm going out.
Okay, Lunyaba, you turn, kind of push away from the bar and walk out. You have to kind of duck as one of the timbers kind of falls halfway. Elements of fire and embers just rain onto the ground around you, but you just walk through them and out the front door. And now, but now
Are
that
there
you're
other people with us?
they crept out
Sorry,
that back
are there
door.
other people? Okay, so it's just us.
Yep. Well, just you and this druid, because and Ire, because Unyaba just walks right out. You can see Ire look down at you and just go, "I don't think that's a good idea." But you step out.
I don't give a shit.
You turn, looking back at this Ian, which is now consumed with flame. You can see fire raging 10 feet above the roof. And through that, it's hard to see really through. You can see shadowy figures, but it looks as if one lunges forwards and just like pushes one to the ground. You hear screams from up above. What are you doing?
Not my problem.
I'm going. Do I know that they took any of my shit?
You have no idea? Yeah, you know that they took your shit away for sure.
All right, I'm gonna go see if I can find my shit and go home.
Okay. You begin to look around. Make an investigation check.
Nice. Except that my investigation is probably not very nice, but yeah, that's a 15 minus 1.
You begin to look around. You can't quite find anything. You see the smoldering remains of this wagon, and you begin to kind of walk towards it. And all of a sudden, you hear this scream, and this humanoid impacts on the ground from the cliffside above you, having jumped down. You see blood all down the back of their neck and shoulder, and then suddenly you see this other body land, the legs breaking and splaying out on the opposite sides. That second body, still alive somehow. You can see it moves, and then suddenly the head just jerks up and looks at you, and you can see the eyes are like oozing out of the socket. You can see there's nothing left of the original form. The skin decayed, the teeth kind of hanging out in ways, as if the whole jaw has been displaced within the flesh. But you can see it just looks at you.
What the hell is your problem?
Crawl towards you with the broken legs. This thing does not seem affected by it at all. But are you doing anything? It's about 5 feet away from you.
Is it within punching distance?
If you let it get there, it certainly will.
Well, if it's within 5 feet of me. Yeah, I think, like, if it's coming towards me, I'm gonna fucking shove it back and be like,
get the hell away from me.
Okay, you can kind of do that pretty easily because, again, the leg's completely shattered. It's crawling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can make an attack if you want an advantage because it is technically prone.
Yeah, fuck this thing. Yeah, it's gonna hit. That's a 21.
Yeah, that hits. You can roll damage on that.
That's 2 plus 3 plus 5 is 10.
10. Okay. You go up and you just kick it right in the face. You see the neck just crack and the whole head shifts so that the chin now rests just behind the shoulder and the body slumps forwards into the sand. That was 10 damage?
Yeah.
It lays still. You can see elements of fire now like falling from the end, settling onto the shirt of this creature and beginning to catch, and still it doesn't react.
Did I see it go down?
All right.
Are you watching? You're in the end at the
would
moment.
assume so. Walking out.
Sure.
Paying
Yeah,
attention.
you see all of that.
And for sure it's dead.
You tell me. What are you doing to find out?
So if it's dead, I would see a fire spirit kind of rise up out of it. And if so, I would like to use my reaction to heal Inyaba.
Okay, so as it falls forwards, you can see the little bits of fire catching on the flame, or catching a flame onto the back of its shirt. You watch as Inyaba begins to kind of like resume the search for their belongings, and all of a sudden you see the arm twitch and the head twitch again, and it begins to pull itself again, and just kind of continue to try to search for Inyaba.
Can I hit it again with my second attack if it's coming at me again?
Yes, you can. It all happens on your turn, technically.
I said, get the hell off!
Natural 20.
Natural 20. So the head, which snaps back around, you can see like the flesh torn. It's just hanging on. You can actually see elements of the spine. And so you bring your leg back as far as you can and just punt the head. Just off and into the distance. You see it soar over the burning tavern and into what you can now see is a crowd pushed up into the cliffside, some of them leaping off and landing into the burning tavern. Ommieh, you can see on the roof this kind of bits of wood like crumpling in a little bit and crumpling in as if it's hitting the top. You can't see what it is, but it is these people leaping off. And you suddenly, Inyaba, are aware of the fact that there are dozens of these undead creatures now swarming in from the north.
Shit.
And looking across now, you can hear them. I mean, they're beginning to lurch forwards and attack everybody. You can see people that have kind of been like gathered around throughout this event. You can see a dwarf with like long hair that covers an eye and wearing all black, has like some woodsman's gear on him, suddenly just being overtaken by some of these zombies. You see people running away. What are you doing?
Is there...
With the creature dying, I would use the spirit that comes out of it to heal Inyaba.
It is an undead creature and does not have a spirit.
I don't think it matters. I think it's just whenever there is a death.
But if they're undead, is that really a death? I can tell you.
Undie.
Druid Circle of Wildfire, page 39, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. What is this? This is your...
The Cauterizing Flames.
Cauterizing Flames. When a small or larger creature dies within 30 feet of you, a harmless spectral flame from the decorative space. Yeah, you know what? I'll allow it. It's kind of vague and it doesn't really make sense in rules as intended, in my opinion, but I'll allow it. So this little bit of flame as the head over the inn kind of rises. Just this single, like a blue mote.
That is 16 points of health back.
Oh, wow.
And then, Yaba, as your eyes track it drifting off the corpse of this thing, suddenly it streaks into you, and you feel a surge of cold as that healing occurs. These creatures...
How far away is Inyaba from the rest of us?
Probably like 15 feet, not that far. Like 25 feet, because it's 10 feet from you guys to the door, and then 15 feet beyond the door is Inyaba.
Okay. I'm going to use the staff to cast Pass Without Trace on the 4 of us.
Okay. So you take the staff, and as you kind of squeeze into it, it pulses, and you feel the shadows of this place cast by the flames seem to draw from the fire and around you. Each of you can see the other people in your area suddenly grow a little bit darker as the shadows cling. And looking down, you look and you can see that they cling to you as well. And you feel a little bit more sneaky.
I suggest we begin moving away from this.
Is there any indication of where we might be and how I might get the fuck home from here?
Make a perception check.
I'm great at perception.
You're a barbarian.
That is bad.
That's not good.
Yeah, that's an 11.
Okay. Your old eyes take in the scene. So much is happening. You see people being attacked by these creatures now. These, what you can now tell are zombies just surging through. You can see them pouring down and around the road that will eventually lead to this part of the town. You can see them coming from both the northwest and the northeast. Very soon, this place will be overrun. And in this kind of swarm of activity. It's hard to really make out any particular direction. What are you
I want
doing?
to start
Am I
walking
still
away from the creatures.
Okay, so you begin to walk south towards the water. Ommieh?
Am I still close enough to the fallen wagon to search for my belongings that I once had?
You can run over and try. Yeah, make a investigation check. You run out following the human.
Okay. Oh, damn it. Not good.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
just
well,
gonna go wherever the danger is not presently.
Okay.
I rolled a 4.
Okay. You go over and look at the cart. The cart is engulfed in flames. At this point, it's just blackened wood. You can see barely this mound of what was once horse, but is now just smoldering. It's a little too hot for you to reach in. You don't see your belongings anywhere, unfortunately.
Damn.
That, yes. So, Matt, to your point, looking around, you can see there's the ocean kind of to the south, and on all other sides, this wave of zombies is kind of closing in. Looking up, you don't immediately see any sign of this dragon. Although, actually, with a passive perception of 19, Sophia, you actually see over in this remains of the outhouse, which a very unpleasant smell and scene over there as they were shattered. The elements beneath kind of spurted up and out with the fire burning. It's a terrible smell.
Yes.
But you see a glint of bronze in the grass. And looking over, you can see maybe like a pendant of some kind. But in Yaba, as you're looking around for some place to escape to, you get the sense you're either going to have to leave through the water or find somewhere to hold up because it's looking pretty dicey.
I'm gonna go towards the water because this
Sure.
this human seems to know what's going on.
Okay, you begin to run towards the water. And the human beginning to
Follow
move
the
towards the
crowd.
water. Okay.
Is that medallion about to be overrun?
It would. No, you can run over about 20 feet, grab it, and run back. But it's movement. It takes some time.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go grab it.
Okay, you run over, you grab it. It's a little warm to the touch, being in the proximity of the flame, but no problem. You pick it up.
And run back. Keep moving.
Okay, you begin to run. Ommieh, what are you doing? You can see these
I'm
two people that you've met run.
I don't know what's going on. I'm scared. Like this human saved me a few times. Like I'm going where she's going.
Okay, you begin to run, and then with all of you, Ire, having removed this jacket since it's just burnt scraps at this point, now just wearing chainmail armor, is going to follow. You, Ommieh, being the last, kind of hearing him swearing behind you, just kind of keeping his eyes out. But you guys begin to run. Or are you running or walking? What are you doing? Because these things are coming.
I would have run back to where I was, but then slowed down, trying to move relatively stealthily.
Okay. Stealthily. Okay. Make a stealth check. Is everybody else moving stealthily?
Oh, shit.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm just kind of like walking.
Okay.
That is 30.
Sure.
Whoa.
You surrounded by fire, this element that you are so intimately familiar with, you almost collapse into them and become a part of them. The lizard that kind of has followed you around merges into your body, and you feel very hidden within the flames. You lose sight of your companions. They are much faster than you, but you're moving stealthily. That's half speed.
Okay.
You're not Shay anymore.
Damn it.
So you lose sight of them as they surge forwards. I would say in Yaba, as you look at the ocean, one thing that you do notice, there is a little marina, maybe like probably about a good 1,400 feet away. There are a number of small boats, although you can see people also running in the same direction, and there's only about 6 boats there. But it's kind of like where everybody is heading right now. It seems to be an easy way to escape. You also notice there are chains above you, and kind of tracing them, you can see there is a tall black building It seems to be a religious structure of some sort with all these chains that connect to different points pinned into the cliffside and into the ground. You see one massive chain that streaks all the way out and into the water, and you can see it actually plunges beneath the surf, maybe 50 feet away from a massive black tower that protrudes from the ocean. Maybe like 200 feet off the coast. Would also be a fairly safe place to hold up.
I guess I'd start walking towards the marina.
Okay. Everybody else, same place?
Yeah.
Can we not see each other because of Pass Without Trace, or can we still see each other?
You and Ommieh are able to see each other. You have no idea where this human is.
Okay. And Ire is also presumably still with
You,
us.
you can see Ire too. Yeah, Ire is probably the least stealthy person here because he's swearing the entire time.
Are these chains? Can I touch them? Like, am I close enough to these chains that are, protruding from this castle to touch them?
If you were to get close enough to the structure itself, there's a few. You can see there's a drawbridge that is currently being slowly pulled up, and there are chains that are kind of pulling that forwards. I would say, because you actually saw him previously, that kind of crazy guy that yelled at you before he ran out, you can see him disappearing into that building as well. But yeah, if you got closer, you certainly could touch them.
Is it possible for me to climb them if I did touch
Certainly
them?
try.
Okay, well, I go up to these chains and I try to climb it.
So, Inyaba, as you are kind of like walking, you see this other barbarian peel off about 10 feet to the side, look up at this chain, maybe like 7 feet up. Given your jumping ability, you might be able to grab it. So make an athletics check.
Me?
Yes, you.
Okay. Oh, that's a good roll. Okay, 22.
Yeah, so you bend down and the wind kind of swirls as you leap, and you rise up so that your chest is almost level with the chain. Easily, you can just like wrap around it and then swing yourself over top. The chain is thick enough that it doesn't really move with your weight. You look down one direction, this chain leads to something that looks like a shop. And then in the other direction, traveling slightly upwards at a trajectory, it hooks into this black building, into one of the windows of this building.
Okay, I head towards the windows of the black building.
Okay, you begin to crawl hand over hand on this chain. I would say all of you can see this because it's a half-orc crawling on a chain in the sky. Are the two of you, Inyaba, Sophia, doing anything with this information, or are you going to continue towards the ocean?
I'm gonna wait to see what the rest of the group is doing. I go with her.
I don't know what to do with that, so I think I would just keep moving.
Okay, so you continue towards the ocean. So with that, I would say, Inyaba, you see suddenly from the fire this figure kind of just flicker in and out, Sophia. You see this weird little mote of fire kind of dance across the shoulders and disappear, and then they're kind of gone. They seem to be heading towards the ocean. You look up, you can see just kind of scooching along the chain this half-orc. They seem to be heading towards, given your experience and knowledge, this is a church of Torok, the deity of torture and things of that ilk.
Idiot. I'm gonna walk towards the marina.
Okay. So with the half-orc climbing hand over hand towards the window and the other two walking towards the marina. Because it is 10:20, this is where we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back at 10:30. We'll see you then. Yeah, splitting the party. Howdy, folks. Welcome back to our one shot, which is High Noon Red Sun. The sun is red and the noon is high. Welcome back. When we left off, we had, as a group, you guys kind of splintering a little bit. We have Ommieh, the half-orc barbarian, now scooching up a chain towards a open window in a black temple or church-like structure. We have Ire, Inyaba, and Sophia, who are heading towards the ocean in the direction of a marina where there are a few boats and kind of a scuffle to get the last remaining ones. However, as you guys are moving, these zombies from the north are beginning to swarm in. And as people begin to kind of run in front of you, and as you walk and don't run, they are going to gain on you for sure. So give me just 1 second. Ommieh, from where you are standing, or from where you are kind of scooched up, you stop for a second and you turn and look down. You can see, where are we here? You can see the two people and Ire that you have kind of briefly come into contact with now, beginning to move towards the ocean. You can see beneath you 10, maybe 20 of these undead creatures surge forwards and in their direction. All of you begin to hear kind of just screams tear into the air around you. You can see things are beginning to unfold fast. As the two of you pass by this large open-to-the-air building, maybe 45 feet away from where you are, Ommieh, there are simple wooden pillars kind of holding the roof upright. You see a tiefling in a gore-smeared dress with wisps of pink white still visible. There's only one remaining arm. They're biting into the neck of a large Goliath who is still chained to the ground. You can see several other humanoids swarming him and several others that are all kind of secured. There are 3 of these kind of gladiator types that are clad in loincloths and branded across the chest. A female dwarf and 2 humans that are kind of backed into a corner using spears and shields to fight off the 8 or 9 of these corpse-like creatures. You can see all of this in the sinister shadow of the lanterns that cast stark shadows across the hay-strewn floors, even with the high noon sun overhead, the red light kind of filtered down. The soldier that you can see who's being bitten kind of falls, and 6 or so of them snap their heads in your 2 direction. What are you guys doing? They're still about 20 feet away from you.
In our direction?
Yes, there are 6 of them now looking at you.
Me being Ire and me, or is because they don't see Sophia, presumably, right? Because I probably don't even see Sophia at this point.
You don't. So as far as you can tell, it's you and Ire.
All right. I'm gonna look at him and be like,
I'm getting the hell out of here.
Well,
and then I'm gonna.
I never could. And he follows you. So the 2 of you begin to run. What are you doing? You can see, I would say, Sophia, you can see 20 feet off, these zombies begin to lurch after Ire and Inyaba.
Seeing that, would move to keep up with them.
Okay, so now it is Ire and Inyaba who are 20 feet ahead of a crowd of zombies, 6 of them, and then maybe 15 feet behind is this druid. Your stealth is 31. You are still hidden. You don't feel anything coming towards you. Ommieh, below you, this is kind of unfolding. Are you doing anything or still heading towards the window?
Do I recognize anybody among the crowd of other people except for the 2 other characters that I was originally with?
Make a perception check.
Okay.
Are we still running towards the marina?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
I rolled a 16.
Okay. You look down and there is chaos unfolding around you. You see people screaming and fighting and running. There are these zombies, and you see a staggering variety. I mean, you see an older orc in dirty robes with long gray hair, the face kind of torn open in places, but still lurching forwards towards somebody. You see a halfling woman with big hoop earrings kind of trip and fall and just is pounced on by 3 or 4 of them. You see off in the distance a figure that you do recognize, this large, nearly 7 feet tall humanoid. bald, and you see as he's just kind of pulled down into a group of these zombies and just disappears into this mob. You don't see anybody else that you recognize in this moment.
Can I? Okay. Well, I see this guy that I recognize. I'm like, oh shit, I have to do something. How far away is the castle? Can I climb to the castle, like through the window on the chain that I'm on?
So that's probably about 30 feet away. So yeah, for sure, you can if you want.
That's what I do.
Okay. You crawl up, you kind of lose sight of the other two, and smoke begins to drift up and makes it even harder to see out. But you get hand over hand through this chain and you drop through the window. The window is kind of arched and there are dark stones that line it. You fall onto a wooden floor. You can see a banister around a circular opening in front of you. There are 4 or 5 doors off this circular pathway. It's almost like a hallway, and you can look down and see to the floor beneath. Let me change the sounds here just a second. The sound of the panicking crowd and even the zombies kind of dies away.
Okay.
You do hear the drums, very rhythmic, and you hear voices kind of drifting up from that central hole. You can see there's a number of bedrooms, no doors, kind of off to the sides. To your right, you can see a barred door. There's a lever that could release it and open it to go down some stairs. What are you doing?
Can I see directly into these bedrooms?
From where you are, you can see into 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, they're fairly sparse, very simple beds. And that's kind of all you can see just from looking from this hallway, but you could certainly go in and look through one.
Okay, I sneak into these bedrooms.
Make a stealth check.
Okay. 16.
16. For you, very sneaky. You kind of lower yourself down. It's dark here. Not completely dark. It is dimly lit. You don't at first see any kind of like source of fire. But looking around and as your eyes adjust, you can see there are a few torches hung. However, they burn with an almost black light. It gives off just a very, very faint light. And I would say, given your background and the people that you've hung out with, you would know that this is a torch that is typically used in the Underdark, a part of the world that is beneath the ground, and the creatures there don't need quite as much light to see.
Okay.
You go into this room. You can see a bed with a very, very kind of threadbare blanket. Make an investigation check if you're going to like look around for anything, because these seem like almost purposefully very sparse.
Okay. Well, I literally got a 1 minus 1, so 0. Damn.
You look through and you kind of look at the bed, look under the bed. It's a pretty clean room.
Okay.
There's a sheet on the bed. If you would like to take that, you certainly can.
Can I take one of the torches off the wall?
You can. So you go over, take a torch. It does let off heat. This is real fire, but it is, again, almost like this black fire. Very, very dim light.
Can I test magic? Is it a magical fire?
You have make an Arcana check. Sure.
Okay. Ah, damn. Well, I got another 0, believe it or not.
I mean, Vanrid's tried to tell you a little bit about... Yeah. Vanrid's tried to tell you a little bit about magic, but that guy's kind of an asshole, and you don't really listen to him. So, yeah, no idea.
Well, I'm still here. Can I hear conversation? Can I hear any? Can I eavesdrop?
Yeah. Even just by kind of leaning over with that stealth check, make a perception check, because it's low chanting. At first, it sounds almost like moaning.
Roll better here. Okay, that one was better. Let's see, perception 18.
Okay, so you peek over the top of this little banister. You can see there are 6 of these hooded figures. They're standing around a large disc of twisted iron wires shaped like thorny vines. Within there is a writhing canvas sack that moans in a thin voice. You can see these robed figures range in height. You can see hair spilling from a hood here, dark braided beard on another. The chanting is very low, almost like a moan. They are apart and discordant, yet they seem to twist together in a strange rhythm. Uh, this rhythm pulls goosebumps to the surface of your skin from the nape of your neck down to the base of your spine in a sharp crack. The window or the room below is a rectangle about 20 by 45 feet. There are bars that could drop to prevent entry or exit near the entrance. There's a lever, and you can see it's currently up. And then there's a circle beneath this cage-like thing, featuring a number of arcane sigils that have a very dark feeling to them.
I can't understand what they're saying, right? It's just chanting, right? It's not language or something I can understand.
You
Right.
hear, you speak Common Elvish Orc. This is not a language that you understand. It is dark and low, and the syllables seem to almost drift into each other like flames. It's a weird language. You've never heard it before.
So there's a person. Wait, is there seemingly a person that seems captured down there, or is
Certainly
it just
looks
a
like it,
circle?
yeah.
And I can't recognize that person, right?
It's just a canvas sack that's kind of moaning and wriggling.
Okay, is there a window near me?
The window that you climb through.
Okay, I kind of pick up like maybe a nail or some loose thing that I find on the ground and gently toss it out the window in hopes that the people chanting will notice it.
Okay. You look at the window. You can hear screams and zombies and fire. You
Okay.
throw a little pebble out. You don't hear anything because there's chanting in here, drums, and a lot of stuff happening. They don't seem to react.
Okay, well, I pick up another little piece of pebble that I find on the ground, and I drop it down the central staircase that I can see them from.
Okay. You take this pebble, you look over, and you just drop it. Kind of hits the cage, bounces a few times, clangs once, and then falls to the ground. The chanting stops.
Ooh.
Are you like pulling back when this happens?
Oh yeah, I pull back just to see if something happens.
Okay. So all of a sudden the drums stop. You just hear the wind outside, the fire, you can hear other things. And then beneath in that same language, you can kind of hear Sathrantos. And then the figures just turn and begin to move in different directions. You lose sight of them as they do so. You have a sense that they are looking for you.
Okay.
You doing anything?
Since I didn't find anything, I try to very quietly peel up a floorboard just in case I need to use it as a weapon. And I still have alcohol, right?
You do. So make an athletics check. You begin to hear now from that door that you saw previously that separates from like a staircase going down. You hear metal, your chains kind of dragging along stone.
Okay.
So what's your athletics check?
My athletics check was 19.
Great. You pull away a floorboard and you now hold it like a club. We're going to get back to that in just a second.
Okay.
Matt and Tina. We're going to start with you, Matt, and Ire, because you guys are having a time here.
Running from zombies.
Yes. So 1 second here.
Yeah.
So you guys begin to kind of run. And as you do so, you can see these zombies beginning to surge after you. For whatever reason, it seems like they are probably just about as quick as you. You guys are actually, what, is your movement 30 feet?
35.
Yeah, because as a barbarian, you get the plus 10. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you're a speedy dwarf, and you're just shuffling along.
Slightly faster than they are. Yes.
These 6 are then joined. A few like kind of just come in from alleyways and buildings. There's now 8, and then 9. You keep ahead of them. But as you pass ahead again on the right, you can see a human in something that looks like a cross between a blacksmith apron with leather gloves, but also a rubbery material slick with gore across the front, almost like a rubber apron. Suddenly goes flying across the 20-foot road in the air. You see a surge of undead cross the gap towards them, kind of in front of you, 8 or 9 of them. There's now 8 in front, 8 behind. The ones in front not facing you. However, they swarm this individual, and you can hear with the sick kind of the throat torn from the body. And then suddenly from that same building, you can turn and kind of look, and you see more of these undead kind of swarming overneath. They are backlit by a long, large trough of burning coals, red hot. Dozens of metal rods protruding from them. You can actually recognize these are brands. Kind of chained into the ground with a whole slew of these blacksmith-like individuals trying to hold chains down and hold this creature down. There is an ogre who you could see had just gotten the beginnings of a brand before this undead swarm began to attack. You can see some of these guards like turning to address these zombies. You can see some of them trying to keep this ogre down, who is roaring and attempting to like escape. You can see there is a metal headband around this ogre's skin, and from it, where it is slightly bent, there is this orange kind of glow emanating from it. But it roars, swinging at the guards, and suddenly it too is beset by these undead. Are you doing anything?
So in front of me, zombies. Behind me, zombies. To the right, ogres and guards getting attacked by zombies.
Yep.
And to the left?
And to the left, where did I put my map? All right. To the left, from where you are, you can see there's like a building, a big glass window is still intact. You don't see anybody behind. You see these vague shapes of humanoids, mannequins, training dummies, something of that nature. Hard to tell, but that's what's there.
I'm running that way.
Okay. That's going to bring you by the, so the doorway is kind of, okay, you can certainly try. You're going to be running right in front of the crowd that is not facing you.
The crowd of zombies?
Yeah, the ones that are now pouncing on this guy, kind of ripping at him on the ground.
Oh, I don't want to do that. I'm looking for the safest way to get away from these zombies and the hell out of here.
Safe is not a term that applies to the situation.
Relatively speaking.
Let me rephrase this. Ahead of you, there's 8 zombies. On the left, an unknown number of zombies, but 2 buildings that are up against a cliffside overhead.
Okay.
To the other side of you, there is this ogre who is trying to swing free of its captors, and also more zombies. And then behind you, as you turn, there are hundreds. You can now see streaking away these undead. I would say, with your passive perception, that's all you see.
Just a bunch of zombies. Oh, shit.
Think about what you want to do. Sophia, what are you doing? You can now see in front of you Ire and Yaba just surrounded.
Can I see the buildings off to the left?
Yes, you can.
And how many zombies are between us and there?
All told, as far as you can tell, roughly 16 or so.
Okay. What I'm gonna do, if I can find the spell.
Sure.
I'm gonna cast Wind Wall.
Okay.
In a manner that cuts off as many of them from us as possible to allow us to get to the buildings.
Okay. So this is 50 feet long.
Mm-hmm.
As many as you can to basically give you a safe access to there. That would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. You can completely cut off where that ogre and 8 of those zombies are.
Perfect. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to start running, and as I pass Ire and those dwarf, just say run.
Okay, so you pull your hand across, and as you do, the wind violently rips up and forms this wall. It is a strong wind, and you can see it becomes almost a corridor that forms the wall itself.
Mm-hmm.
All 8 of the, wait, is it 5 feet or 10 feet? the wall appears each creature within its area. Okay. Are you separating it, or are you trying to pull it across some of these creatures?
Doing it in such a way, not necessarily to aggravate them, but to prevent them from coming at us, if that makes sense.
No problem. So you can see the fog and or the smoke from the fire beginning to immediately be pushed away from this wall, and the space clears. It is a little bit more visible. Some of the ash is carried away, and you're able to breathe a little bit better. However, you can see from somewhere off in the distance, somebody pulls like a bow out and fires. The arrow streaks towards the undead and then gets caught into the wall and goes high. You'd imagine shooting projectiles through it very difficult, but separates 8 of these zombies and the ogre and the unfortunate people trapped inside. They're a contained environment at the moment. That leaves you and Yaba all of a sudden with a wind wall to one side, 2 buildings and a cliff to your other side, and then 8 zombies, give or take, in front of you.
All right. I'm going to try to make my way through to get to the buildings. I'm going to try to, like, as much as possible, let them just keep nomming on this other dude.
Okay.
And, like, try to, like, you keep eating. I'm not trying to disturb you, you know?
Make a stealth check.
I'm like, he's dead anyway.
Yes, yeah, you can see the throat entirely spread open.
This is not gonna be great. Actually, I think my stealth is like, yeah, it's not a negative, but that's a 5.
Okay. So you begin to kind of shuffle around. You can see this wind wall pushed up.
It's plus the 10 from Pass Without Trace.
Hang on one second here. Let me look past that.
Unless it's no longer in effect. I don't know, because
I think it stays for an hour. It's like a long spell. Maybe it's 10 minutes.
Okay.
It is a long spell.
Hour, but it is concentration.
I did cast it through the staff, so.
It'll. What does that do to it? Remind me.
Just use an action to cast without trace spell from the staff without using any charges.
Important thing to note. Matt, you do not have Pass Without a Trace because it has to be within 30 feet of Sophia. So that is a 5. So at the edge of your Pass Without a Trace, 10 feet beyond, you can see Inyaba cloaked in shadows at first, feeling very confident. And then as they get to within 10 feet of the door, they step out and turn, and you can see one of these creatures begin to like lurch towards you. Yeah, you are going to get attacked. Can you? Oh, go ahead.
You tell me what's gonna happen, because
Okay.
I'm gonna use my reaction for Wild Magic Surge. Is
Okay,
most
so
likely.
the first one's going to bite you.
Yes.
That is going to be a. That's not really good. That's like a 15 to hit.
That misses, so I don't use my Wild Magic yet. I need
Fair
to
enough.
take damage.
So you watch 3 of these zombies reach forwards. They swipe out and try to bite, and then Yaba's able to brush them off and duck underneath until one lunges on and just tries to bite you in the back of the neck. That is a 25 to hit. That is the highest that they can roll.
That is gonna hit.
Their second highest they can roll, I guess.
Oh, actually,
Okay.
and I can't because I'm not raging. I cannot use my Wild Magic.
You, Matt, take 4 points of piercing damage as this thing bites into your back. Not a terrible amount. So, that is what's happening. And Yaba, you are surrounded by these creatures. They're pushing in and kind of between you and the door. All of you as a cluster are right in front of this building. You can see the door is shut, and as you now are right near, you can look over and you can see through the window there is a chair pushed up against the doorknob. You can see some figures kind of cowering off and in this little alcove in the back.
So I think having been bitten, that would probably throw me into a rage again.
Okay. So we're going to roll initiative then for this little thing that's going on here. Let me send you a picture of this.
How close are Ire and Yaba to me?
Ire is closest. He's about 45 feet away, and Yaba is probably about 55. No, probably about 60 feet away.
Okay.
And how far away are we now from the door?
From the door, you are like you're within 5 feet of the door, but you are surrounded by these creatures. They're kind of with you in that space. Here is
Okay.
the building that you guys are currently attempting to gain access to. I'll put it in one-shot planning. And you can see that's the one on the right-hand side of that original map. The angle is different, but it's the same one. And I would say from where you are kind of standing, Matt, you can see this seems to be, you see elements of like healing supplies in there. You see like a metal table that has some stains on it. It seems to be maybe like a healer's hut. Weirdly, you also see some bars in there, but regardless, that's what you see. What did you roll for initiative?
Oh, I totally forgot to roll for initiative. Natural 20.
Okay. So we're going to get back to that in a second.
This has been a good die tonight.
Okay. So natural 20 for Inyaba. Sophia, could you roll initiative, please?
Yeah, it's 8.
Okay. 8 for Sophia. Zombies. Not great either, actually. They're going last.
Nice.
Okay. So, Inyaba, what do you want to do? You have zombies literally surrounding you. There's a bush behind you and to the left. That's the only spot not currently occupied.
Okay, I'm bonus action raging, which provokes a wild magic surge.
Go ahead and roll a d8.
That is an 8.
Okay. So you grit your teeth together, and all of a sudden, from your chest, where some of these wounds from the previous battle are happening, you see a spark of light, and then a bolt of light shoots from your chest. Another creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you must take a Constitution saving throw, or they will take radiant damage and be blinded.
Oh, nice.
So who are you choosing? Right now, it's one of 8 zombies or Ire.
Oh, the curveball would be blinding ire,
Hey, you
but
can do it.
I think I would realistically probably blind the one that just bit me.
Okay, so roll a d6. You do a little bit of radiant damage, which I believe, actually.
Nice. Radiant damage is probably the best kind of damage against this undead thing, unwittingly.
Perhaps.
That is 4 radiant
Okay.
damage.
So it hits the zombie. You can see it staggers for a second. It deals full damage to it, but not any more than you would imagine. All right. That is your reaction. No, that was you raging. That's your bonus action.
My bonus action. And
Okay.
then so can I make an attack on one of the zombies that is within my vicinity and then attack the door to try and bust it in?
You certainly can. You have 2 attacks. So make your first attack against the zombie. This is the one standing between you and the door, we'll say.
Okay. Yeah, to try and I guess
Yeah.
to shove it aside.
I got you.
Yeah. All right. And that is 28.
28 hits. Go ahead and roll damage on that.
All right. And that's a D4. That is 3 plus 3 plus 5. That's 11 damage.
11 damage. So, and it's just slashing damage?
No, bludgeoning. I'm just punching
this guy.
punching my way
That's
through.
a good punch. You go up to this thing already kind of hurting from this light, and you deck it right in the chest. You see the whole chest just cave in, and it just looks up at you. Still seems to be on its feet.
Yeah, I'm gonna punch through it to try and break the door so that I can, not to break it down, but punch a hole in so that I can grab the doorknob from the other side and open
That's
it.
way easier, of course. Can you make an attack roll at disadvantage?
I don't want to break the door because then I can't close it again. That is a 15.
A 15. You punch and try to punch at this creature. You miss the creature, but you hit the door.
Nice.
The door kind of buckles a little bit, and you see elements of dust fall off, but it doesn't break.
Shit.
Unfortunate.
Uh,
That is your turn.
I guess I would move into the bush so that I'm not occupying the same space, but does that provoke opportunity attacks? Because if so, then no.
No, it will not, because I mean you can't share the same space, so that's just you kind of moving back from the
Yeah,
bush.
I'm just shuffling so that I'm not right up in some zombie grill.
Sounds like a plan. That is your turn. That brings us to Sophia. What are you doing?
Is it possible to get within 5 feet of both Enyaba and Ire this turn?
Yes, you'd be standing with one of them kind of diagonally to the left and behind you, and then Ire would be diagonally to the top right of you.
Perfectly. Doing that, and then using Kindle to teleport us inside the building.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so you get between them, and all of a sudden Kindle into life runs around your shoulders and then makes a larger arc around all three of you, and you disappear and reappear in the building.
And any of the zombies left within 5 feet of the place where we left are going to take some fire damage.
That's three of them, so go ahead and roll your roll the damage on that. Take a look at this feature.
That's 9 fire damage.
Okay. What is the feature that's teleporting you guys?
It's Kindle's action, the fiery teleportation.
Damn. That's pretty useful to
That
be
is
able to
dope.
not exist in a space that's occupied by 8 zombies.
You know what? It's each willing creature.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, no problem. You guys teleport in. Because it's not like this guy's ever met you and has no idea what the fuck you're doing. But seeing as how he's taken kind of by surprise, you teleport him into the building. All three of you appear. You can see this kind of older woman who's kind of shrunk in the back, brown robes. You can see sort of like tousled gray hair, little, kind of like towards the tips of it, little stained, almost yellow. You can see kind of off to the side on this nightstand on the bed that she's hiding kind of on top of, like a mortar and pestle filled with some kind of herbs. Are you doing anything? She's just kind of looking at you.
Bunch of zombies outside.
You can see she just shakes her head rapidly. Sophia, is that your turn?
Yes.
Okay. These zombies are going to just try to claw this door down, I guess. Let's see, one attack, what's not going to happen? There's a thud, and then another thud, and you actually hear one of them fall as they hit the door and then bounce off and roll a natural one. That is going to miss, and that is going to hit. So suddenly you see part of the door kind of buckle in. Elements of the wood fall away as one of them's able to hit it harder than you are, Inyaba. You can see little bits of this red sunlight streaking through holes now. It's not going to take another hit like that. That is their turn. Really quick pulling away. Ommieh, you kind of up and still being searched for. You clutch this it's like a floorboard. You can see like a nail still sticking out the front of it. What are you doing? You can kind of hear these chains dragging up the stairs towards you.
So I'm gonna. Originally, I was planning on, attacking and defending myself, but I decided there's probably too many of them now. So I'm gonna wait for them to get to me, and I'm gonna try to persuade them not to kill me and instead talk to me.
Okay.
That's it.
You
I put
hold.
down the floorboard and I just kind of like stand in this vulnerable body position, and hopefully they'll see that I'm not trying to fight them.
So you wearing this fairly burned sack of cloth and very little else. You still have the links from the manacles that you broke, but you're still wearing these metal cuffs. Clearly an escaped prisoner of some sort. But you stand there and you wait. You hear these chains grow louder and louder, and suddenly the first of these figures emerge. You can see black hood, this insignia on a silver pin on the lapel. It's a skull. You can see there is a gear that is emerging from the right side of the forehead, and you can see behind it a chain that crosses. It comes up, you can see it's holding this chain, and as it looks at you, you see this kind of light underneath the eyes, and the chain begins to animate and rise up in its hands. It looks at you, and you can hear again this dark voice, Irotakan Tasen. And do you respond?
Yes, I do. Well, first, so is there only one person around me, or are there multiple?
There's one right in front of you, but you can hear other chains being dragged up the stairs. There's you saw 6 of them down there. You'd imagine there's 6.
Yep. Do I recognize this person at all? Can I see their face?
Make a perception check.
Okay. Oh, that can't be good. Oh, well, it was an 11.
Okay. You have no idea. From this kind of cloak and the hood, you can see it is a human female of some kind, long brown hair kind of spilling out, but nothing else beyond that.
I say like, hey sis, not here to cause any harm or trouble. Just here to say, are you behind all the zombies? Are you guys doing that outside?
You see this other figure emerge.
Looks, you're doing great. Whatever you're doing.
You see another figure emerge. This one from the bottom of the stairs, emerging shorter. You saw the complex kind of braided beard on this one. It's a dwarf of some kind, black hair. Looks at you. They kind of look at each other. And then the one that hasn't spoken yet speaks in that language again. There's Pagan Albrosh Tarog. And you can see the other one nod. And these 2 chains, the other one beginning to animate, slowly begin to drift towards you. You can see the chains themselves stained, and not with rust. It seems to be elements of dried blood, perhaps. What are you doing?
I also say whatever they dash Tagger Frost Tarog right back at them.
Wow, that's actually pretty good. Make a performance check, I guess, if you're trying to.
Okay. Just repeating what they said. Okay. 14.
14.
Yep.
The dwarf, you can see kind of look up, and the hood shifts back a little bit. You can see more of their face now. Really firm brow, bushy eyebrows, and black, a scar going down through the right one. You can see the eye a little bit more shut than the other. These eyes dark brown, almost black. The nose is kind of bulbous, and you can see the mustache goes and joins into these complex braids with gold beads and small green stones set into some of them. Looks to be probably fairly wealthy, and you can see elements underneath this robe of fine clothing, kind of a crushed, almost crimson cloth of some kind. You can see elements of a golden chain, definitely wealthy. Whoever this is, and this is beginning for you, especially with your intelligence, it's just clicking in. This is a cult. Definitely a cult. But yeah, they kind of emerge. You can see this dwarf now coming up. And as you repeat the words back relatively well, he stops for a second. You can see the chains just stop. And they're maybe like 10 inches from you. Where
Say it again. A little bit louder, more forceful.
He says, he looks at you and squints and says, where are you from?
Ooh, great question. Do I lie or do I not lie? No, I'm going to speak the truth here, and I say, I am from the depths of Zarzenfall. But like menacing, scary.
You can see the taller one looks down. Not from Port Quinlan. And you can see the other one nods. And I need you to roll initiative because they immediately start to attack.
Damn it. I was really trying not to do this.
They're on 2 combats at once.
No! Fuck. Okay, I got it.
10? Okay. Ommieh, you feel these chains wrap around you as if to bind you.
Ow.
Make
Ow,
an
ow.
athletics. Make an athletics check, please.
Oh. 22.
22. All right. The first one wraps around your arm, and you kind of pull it back, and you break the chain. The link's like snapping and kind of falling off onto the ground. Another one wraps around. You can see around your waist, and right before it pulls taut, you stick your arms in, and in a brief struggle, you manage to burst these chains open. They cannot hold you. They roll for context. One of them rolled a 20, and they still weren't able to succeed. So that's pretty good.
Dang.
Wow. Nice.
The first two. You can see a third and a fourth appear from the stairs, but that is their full movement and action to get there. So that's 4 of them. That is their turn. What are you doing, Ommieh? You can see there is currently 4 of them taking up a large part of the space. There's a doorway beyond them, this hole that goes into a central chamber below. And then you can see behind you this window and the chain that leads out into the open street beneath.
No. I'm not gonna go out the window. I'm gonna engage in this battle.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to intimidate them by screaming as loud and hard as I can.
Okay.
And then I'm going to. So there's 2 people in front of me now. It's right.
Yep. There's 2 people directly in front of you. There's one about 5 feet back, and then one right at the top of the stairs, maybe 10 feet away.
I try to like run through the 2 people in front of me.
Okay.
That's what I'm
do. Make an athletics check.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, not good. 14.
Okay. That dwarf who's kind of just like right in front of you, you plow into him with your forearm. You put your forearm right into the sternum and you floor him. He's tabletop straight to the ground. You hear a ugh! The beard flies up and kind of hits him in the face. The woman that you kind of haven't seen her face yet, you go towards and try to shove her out of the way. She takes the chain and almost like a ribbon pulls it around her body and it snaps, hitting you in the arm and kind of forcing you to take a step back. You can't push through her space. That is your movement and your action. You still have a bonus action.
Bonus action, go into a rage because I'm pissed that they didn't buy my chant.
And you go into a rage. So we're going to get back to that in just a second. This brings us back to the other combat and the zombies. I'm going to take the chain sounds away, but I'm not adding the zombies back. We're just putting battle music because you guys are fighting stuff. Take this away and we'll just use some battle music. You guys are fighting a variety of battles at the moment. So, Inyaga, you are up. What do you want to do?
So the door, I guess. Ooh, I just teleported into this building. What the heck is like around me now?
Okay, so you currently within this building, you're standing 5 feet right in front of a series of bars that separate a 10-foot space. It seems to be like a cell. There is an opening and shutting door. To your right, there is a bed and this woman cowering on it. A mortar and pestle next to the bed. There's like an interior wall that separates a small, what looks like a little sitting room. And then there is a large metal table, slightly stained with a drain on it, probably like an operating table. The door is right next to that table, and you can see like elements of a hand reach in and pull another piece of wood away.
I'm going to, still in a rage,
Okay.
move the table and try to use it to barricade the door.
Okay, this is a solid iron table, but you can certainly try.
I am Inyaba.
Make an athletics check. You see this old woman stalk forwards towards this table. Wait, did you say, are you raging? Did you just say?
I'm still raging from last
Okay.
time. Because I hit the door and the zombie.
Okay.
So that was a strength check. That is a 24.
Okay. So you like lurch forwards, you grab underneath this table, and it down and across the stonework. You slide it 5 feet out and then muscle it 10 feet forwards, and it goes right in front of the door. You turn it over on its side and cover the whole door essentially with the staple. It's fairly heavy, and you'd imagine it's buying you some time.
All right. Got any smokes? I'm going down. I'm going down happy.
Just you wait.
You can see absent-mindedly Ire, he holds the revolver in one hand, reach into this chainmail and pull out these little, almost like hand-rolled cigarettes.
Nice.
Hand one over to you. You can see he holds up a thumb and a little flame arises and he lights his. Not a bad idea. Kind of goes over and looks out the window. You can see through this window there are dozens of these creatures.
So, as a bonus action, because of the wild magic surge from last time,
Sure.
I can do the same effect again this turn.
Sure.
So I believe one of the things outside needs to make a Constitution save or be blinded and take radiant damage.
That's going to be a 17.
That ties it.
Save, tie, DC. That's a failure, so go ahead and roll your D6 of damage. As you see Ire...
Until the next turn.
For sure.
That's 3 radiant.
Okay. As you see Ire kind of look out the window, suddenly this face comes into view. You turn towards it, and from your chest, this light streaks out through the glass, and you see the eyes suddenly glow white as this thing just kind of starts lurching away. Very confused. But yeah,
I'm gonna.
That is your turn.
Then I guess I'm gonna use my movement to find a comfy spot to get comfy and smoke my cigarette as I.
Right in front of that window,
await
there's a faded blue stuffed chair.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sit in the chair.
Okay. Right next
free
to
action to sit down.
Yeah, free action to sit down. And there's a little table with a kettle with some still steaming water and a teacup next to it, although no tea at the moment.
I don't drink tea.
Okay. That is your turn. That brings us to Ire. Ire watches you do this and kind of looks out the window. He's going to take his full movement back and get kind of back towards actually towards you, Sophia. He's going to look you up and down for a second. All right. So can you do it again?
Do what again?
Just lift us up and bring us somewhere? I mean, we can just keep going, right?
Yes, but I had other ideas.
Like?
I'll show you.
In case you couldn't tell, the world's ending outside. The sky doesn't just turn red for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, where do you want to go?
Well, actually, great point.
Now I want to go home.
I think we all want to go home, but Dungannon a bit far away from me right now.
I don't give a shit where you're from.
I don't give a shit where you're from, but we got to get back there. So,
Yeah.
Is it my turn, or are we?
It's about to be your turn. Technically, this has happened between your turns. He's initiative 19.
Reaction argument.
Yeah. But he is going to say about 200 feet into the surf, there's a tower from a powerful wizard, Esthael. They're kind of a prepper. You know what that means? They get ready for things like this.
Yeah.
That's where we got to get.
All right, I can buy us some time to make a plan.
Turns and looks at Inyaba and then immediately back to you. Yeah, I think the plan is going to come from you or me. So, what are we doing?
Okay. On my turn, going to use the staff to cast Wall of Thorns in a line in front of the door.
Okay. So from the window, and but you're just kind of sitting there in the chair, you're looking out the window, you see this human dressed in an all-black outfit with what looks like a pilgrim hat and a wooden buckle, running down the street, suddenly get overtaken by a zombie. You can see this black dog kind of bark and run off into an alleyway. And then suddenly, in front of you, there is a wall of thorns, just completely cutting off the view, streaking from the window and in front of the door.
Hey, I was watching that.
Wall of Thorns, it deals damage to things that are in the space.
It does. It is a dex save.
Okay.
The
so it's
DC
gonna
is 17.
That is a okay. I rolled an 18 with a -2 goes down to 16, and then an 18 with -2 goes down to 16, and a 15 -2 goes down. Yeah, so they all fail.
Sick.
So these thorns just erupt from the ground. You can see some of these bodies thrown and torn within the structure.
5 is 17.
Ooh.
4 is 6. 28 points of piercing damage.
Okay, so you watch as this happens, and Yaba, you have the best view. You're watching it straight in front of you. You see right in front of the door the first set of vines rise up. They twist around the body of one of these zombies. You can see the zombie arms where it emerges begin to swell before this thing pops like a balloon and goes limp.
Oh,
Um,
that was cool.
and seems to be permanently dead. The one next to it, you can see the vines go up and lift it off the ground. Spears straight through this corpse. You can see it twists up through the leg, seems to emerge from parts of the body, and then it just dies, suspended up on the stalk. The third one is a zombie that Matt blinded, and it's kind of wandering away, and then just torn into pieces. That one is also dead.
Nice.
3 of those zombies are dead. Well done. That's a pretty dope spell.
And it is up for the next 10 minutes in front of this door.
Fantastic.
It
It is a
is.
zombie's turn.
Yep.
Oh, good.
Nope, we're good.
Okay. They're going to attack this wall of thorns. They take damage from it, I believe, if they do, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How much damage do they take?
It's a dex save, I believe. Anytime
Okay.
they move
So-
into the space of the wall or touch it, basically.
They surge forwards into this wall because they are mindless, stupid creatures. That is 5 of them.
Idiots.
Dex save 12, 17, 15, and 12.
The DC is 17,
Okay, so one of them succeeds.
so he's taking
others are-
half damage.
Okay.
It's 25 points of
Okay.
piercing damage.
So, and Yaba, you now seeing the thick jungle of thorns and vines, you watch as some of these corpses attempt to wade through it. They tear parts of the vines away, and as they snap, more grow to replace them. And you can see as they grow, they spear into the flesh, pulling decayed skin and bone out of the body. And as these 4 or 5 of them wade through, you see them pulled apart. They die. There's one of these zombies from that original group left, but you see more kind of lurking beyond. But that is their turn. That brings us back to the cultists around you, Ommieh.
Okay.
You are currently raging. However, they're going to attack you. Okay, this is gonna suck. So you're taking 2 attacks from these chains, 2 of them. The first one is going to be a 15 to hit.
Yeah, it needs to be 15.
Okay. Second one is higher than that. Yes? Yes?
What?
Did you say something, or did you want to do something?
It's not my armor class is 14, not 15.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, they're doing damage to you. You take 12 points of piercing damage as these, or sorry, of bludgeoning damage as these chains slam into you. From behind, you can see one of these other cultists who you have not engaged with yet hold a finger at you, and this bright burst of flame streaks out towards you. That is going to be a 24 to hit, and you're going to take 6 points of fire damage as this
No.
kind of streaks out. That is their turn. What do you want to do?
I look at them all and I remember this verse that came to mind, and I'm like, I hope this is. I remember they were chanting something, and this might have been what they were chanting. So I say, when the
Okay.
earth returns to skies, and when many minds become one, when the tears of our people return to their eyes, Don Machan has begun.
Okay. So as you say that, there is no reaction from any of them, except that woman that you have not quite seen her face. You can see the head turn sharply towards you. And as the hand kind of pulls back to the hood, you can see not wearing gloves. She just has dark skin, almost charcoal black. And as the hood slides down, you can see the hair is black, but elements near the roots are kind of white. It's been dyed. This is a drow. You can see sharp fey ears, almost skin like freshly poured asphalt. You can see almost black. Uh, she looks at you and just says, "What did you just say?" And takes a step forward, not threatening, seemingly almost curious. You can see behind the two cultists turn and look at each other. They don't seem to understand what's happening. But that is your turn, unless you want to attack or do something else, because you could.
No, I just
Okay.
I looked into her eyes, right back at her.
Okay.
I did.
That's going to be very interesting. Inyaba, I'm going to say at this moment, actually, for all of you, very coincidentally, it's going to take you guys out of combat. This is increasingly hard because you guys are doing two different things at once.
Right.
But
And you're doing like 22.
yeah. So in Yaba, you, Ire, Sophia, and this kind of petrified old woman are now within this place. You can see these vines and thorns. As they're torn away by other zombies, they seem to almost regrow and burst apart the arms, the fingers, the chests. There is now on the outside of this, like the red light filtering through is becoming dimmer and dimmer as corpses are just piling up on this thing. They climb in, try to claw away, and die, and are replaced by two more. And here and there, some of these bodies, as they die, you can see they breathe their last, this and just surge back to life before dying again. Some of them just again and again. It seems as if dying is not always the end of them, but sometimes is. They are still attempting to get through, and you would imagine eventually they will. So, what is your plan?
I'm gonna finish my cigarette.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Take one long last pull. You can see the elements of thin tobacco leaf kind of burn
I'm
up, and it's
gonna-
just ash in your hands.
turn to the terrified, presumably resident of this little hut.
Sure.
I'm gonna say,
Got any booze?
You can see the hand kind of shaking, and she just points, and following her gaze kind of over and underneath this operating table, you can see little bits of dried blood kind of around the top, and it looks like probably like for disinfecting stuff, like a very clear looking alcohol.
I don't give a shit what it is. I'm gonna go drink it.
Okay. You get out of the chair and lumber over to this bottle. You pick it up and pull this cork out of it. Make a Constitution saving throw, just flat, because it would be at disadvantage. But with your, being a dwarf, a little bit better at it.
that's. I think it's gonna be. Yeah, that's a 28.
28. As it touches your lips, it burns. You swear you can almost hear it.
I've had worse.
You swallow it, and it's the taste of shoe polish and just acetane and just disinfectant. You can see the old woman who was shaking almost stops and just turns her head, like absolutely baffled that you just drank that. You just drank like rubbing alcohol. You burp and you taste vomit and bile, but you keep it down.
Then I'm gonna turn to Ire and be like,
You got another cigarette?
He's gonna look at you and look at the bottle, and he just turns and says, "What's your problem?"
What's your problem? We're gonna die.
I'm not planning on dying. I've seen what
Yeah,
happens.
well. Alright, well, I'll just watch.
To
Turns back to you, Sophia.
answer your question, I can move us in very short jumps.
Ugh. Well, that's not really going to do for us. We got to get about 2,000 feet further south.
We're dead.
Again, I don't plan on dying.
All right.
Did Wyatt leave you with anything? Any items? Any kind of belongings that we could use to our advantage here?
I am
Yeah.
already using mine, unfortunately.
I'm-
Everything else
I'm
was
gonna-
lost.
Rummage in my sack and see if do I have anything that they didn't notice on me?
Make an investigation check.
Quite actually. In fact, would you mind removing these?
Yeah, just a minute. He holsters the gun and goes in. And,
Yeah.
oh, you see, almost without he doesn't take out lock-picking tools. You can see from this little side, he pulls out a dagger and just taps with the handle end in a sharp rap, and the thing springs open.
Many thanks.
Yeah, well,
I was
thank me once we're out of here.
18 on the investigation.
Okay.
It was a 19,
you
but I
reach
have a minus
into
one.
and you touch yourself in a way that old dwarves apparently just do. And reaching in, you do feel something. And kind of reaching into your chest, you pull out, still moving, a finger of a zombie that had fallen in. And, you throw it, kind of falls into the ground, and then begins to inch towards the door.
I got nothing.
You see Ire just reach up and just stomp on the finger, which onto the ground. Well, this doesn't seem to be a great situation. So
Yeah, we're dead. Yeah.
you keep saying that, but you haven't really looked around yet. And he begins to kind of look around through the ceiling, the windows, the doors, trying to find some kind of a way out of this.
I'm gonna take a half-hearted look around after he said that.
Make an investigation check.
I'm still sitting in the chair, but I'm like,
Okay.
During this 10 minutes while the Wall of Thorns is up, I do want to cast Commune with Nature as a ritual.
Okay, yeah.
I got a 12.
Okay. With the 12 and just kind of looking from your chair, you don't really see much. You can see this teapot has some nice little blue accents, but that's kind of all you see. So how many questions do you get with Commune with Nature? Is it...
I believe I can learn up to 3 things that I want to know from the surrounding area.
Okay. So what does this look like when you cast Commune with Nature?
For a moment, there's almost this burning look, in my eyes, and then I close them and just start kind of talking to no one in particular.
Okay. You can hear these murmurs emerge in a language that neither of you understand. You can see Ire also seems to not really comprehend. He kind of looks. But as the fire fades and you close your eyes, around Sophia, you can see this thin, ghostly flame begin to lick and dance, and all of a sudden just seems to spread in a circle and disappear through the walls. Tina, what would you like to learn about the area?
I would like
You
to
can learn. Yep.
I would like to know how many of these undead are left and kind of how they're moving.
Okay.
And then sort of the best route from where we are to where we're trying to go.
Okay, that's terrain.
Right.
And then number of undead.
Correct.
You have one more question.
Exact locations of the buildings in the area.
Okay. So, as you close your eyes, this flame out. And for you, it's almost like a sonar that stretches across the surrounding region, almost 3 miles of space. And you listen to nature, the burning fire that connects everything, the beginning and end of every natural thing in this world. Flame consumes, and it can also create. You stretch your consciousness across this area. You feel the terrain. You can feel that this land that you're on slopes down into the ocean. You can feel that the shore terminates a little bit to the west, and so that would lead you to sort of like a rocky region that you wouldn't really be able to escape from. You can sense in this sea just south, about 2,000, almost 1,500 feet now at this point. You've run a little bit. You can sense that there is jagged rocks underneath the waves. This is a dangerous surf, but beyond that, the water drops off quickly and the currents are rapid. You'd imagine it'd be hard for undead to follow you, but also hard to swim through. Feet and feet and feet beyond that, there's this big tower. But with this particular spell, you sense it only rises maybe 80, 90 feet up out of the sky, which makes it the tallest structure by far here. It penetrates deep into the ocean floor. Uh, a floor, 2 floors, 3 floors. You sense that it disappears deep into the cold beneath. Um, with 3 miles, you can track the bottom, and it seems to terminate nearly 1,000 feet into the ground. This is a very interesting structure. You turn your gaze and you can see these various other buildings pop and rise and sort of gain a rough idea as to what's around. Um, you see all the buildings that are kind of on the map that I sent you, but in addition, you can see that there is up on the cliffside a whole spread. You can see a large pyramid that rises up, layers and layers and layers with chains and uh, bodies on those, undead and currently chained. As your consciousness expands, what is your intelligence score?
It's a 16.
Okay. There are thousands. These undead streak off into the north, and though they do become kind of spotty and sporadic, there is no part, that's a very cute cat sound, there is no part that is untouched by these creatures. You can sense them not just across the landscape, you sense them beneath the ground. And at that point, you sense something else, undead but strong. And it approaches. And as your consciousness unfurls in this region, you hear a voice in your mind. Reaching, are we? Well, I will be there soon enough. And it kind of blinks, and you feel the magic that you're casting disappear. That spell ends.
Ooh, yikes.
Okay.
That seems to be no more than 700 feet to the north.
Okay. And how many of them were between us and where we're trying to go?
So that depends. So this marina, probably about 1,000 feet away. In the time that you've kind of gathered here, it's not like a thick wall. It's a spread crowd, a couple hundred. It's going to be a dash and looking up, I mean, there are these chains that streak out from the central kind of church-like structure, and they connect to other buildings and are pinned into the cliffside. There's one that even goes to the ocean. You could maybe try to crawl on those or use them in some way. But yeah, that's you're gonna have to find a path. Otherwise, you're fighting your way through an army of undead. And there is a feeling of it being an army. Now that you know that there is this powerful figure moving.
We're dead.
You don't know that. This
Well-
is all just happening for Sophia.
I'm still saying it.
You're a very positive ray of sunshine.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
So whatever you just did you learn anything?
Does seem to be at least an army of sorts. There is a rather powerful figure coming this way.
Powerful how? Muted.
Undead, detected by presence. Perhaps we should think of something a little faster.
Do they seem mechanical at all?
I don't think so, right?
No, not that you could tell, no.
Not that it seemed.
Well, fuck. Those aren't ours. All right, we got to figure out a way to get closer to the water. That tower is the best place to hold up, at least until we can figure out a way out. At about
As
this
I'm
point,
s-
because your spell has ended and it did take 10 minutes to cast, suddenly in Yaba outside, you can see these vines begin to die and wither.
Or dead. As an
Meanwhile,
action. Oh,
meanwhile, back over here with you, Ommieh, you can see this drow now, the hood down, these kind of dark eyes looking at you. She steps forwards again. What did you say?
I speak Elvish, so I say that entire phrase in Elvish to her.
Okay. So you
Want me to read
begin
it?
to recite. No, you begin to recite. She steps forwards and she puts her hand on your shoulder. I don't know who you are, half orc, but how do you know these words from my people? How do you know what's happening?
I had an intimate relationship with a crewmate of mine named where is it?
Is this the magic user? Vanrid, yeah.
Anrid. He told me what's going on, and I believe it. He told me about the blue star.
Aurelian star, yes. It seems as if things are happening faster than we imagined, and we are not in a safe place. I don't know what this is, these undead, but Turog will spare us. You know these words. You can come with us beneath the ground. The chained god will keep us safe.
Okay.
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 And so you can see she
I
turns.
will go with you underground.
She turns and she says, "Go, complete the ritual." And you can see the other figures begin to head off down there. She leans over on this railing and then she turns back to you. This is very unusual, but you'll meet more. We'll escape this. We'll get through. And you hear the chanting begin. Below, the bars rise and the figures return. As you watch, you can see one of them draw this long, wicked-looking dagger. It's kind of squiggly, comes to a fine point. The chanting picks up a little bit and then stops, and you can hear this one voice, almost more than one voice, come from a single throat. And as they chant, suddenly you're able to hear the chains around you, all the ones that lead into this window, begin to kind of drag and pull. And as they do, you feel the whole structure that you were in begin to descend. As these chains pull taut, for those of you outside who are looking at this structure with all the chains that you could potentially climb on, they begin to pull away from the ground. You, Inyaba, and Sophia can see chains pull taut and then snap away from buildings, walls pulled open. You can see parts ripped from the ground. You see whole trees pulled with these chains. The one that is in the water begins to go taut. Are you guys doing anything from this structure?
Does it seem like if we went out now and grabbed onto one of those, we could like ride it safely away?
Safely, no. But could you
No.
ride it? Absolutely, you could.
I mean, how far away from it are we?
Like 120 feet, give or take. It's a ride.
That's
but
also
yeah.
the closest thing near us at this point, right?
It's the tallest structure and the only one that is above this sort of surge of zombies. Yeah. What are you going to do? These chains are moving.
I'm waiting to see what these two do.
Okay.
Sitting in my chair.
Do you trust me?
I don't really see how I have a choice.
Whatever.
Okay. I want to cast Call Lightning.
Okay.
And
Sure.
center the strike at a point 15 feet from where we are at the moment.
Okay.
So each creature within 5 feet of that point needs to make a dex save.
Oh, I know Call Lightning. Okay. For sake of expediency, that's 8 of them. So they all fail.
Sick.
I mean, it's a deck save, right?
Yes.
What is this? What is a DC? I don't think they can actually.
17. 17.
With a natural 20, they could beat it. So yeah, they all fail.
Okay. That is 6 points of lightning damage.
Okay.
Um,
So
and what I kind of want to do with this is call lightning and then transport us with Kindle into the space that's been cleared. If that makes sense.
Sure. So you cast Call Lightning. This is an action, right? And then Kindle's thing is a bonus action?
Yep.
Okay. So as an action, you cast Call Lightning. You point through the window. You can see zombies surging forwards now towards this house as the vines wither down and die and bodies drop to the ground that have been kind of torn apart, parts just falling, here and there an arm kind of flopping freely, still moving. You point into a middle space and you cast Call Lightning. Overhead in the red sky, you can see some of these wisps of white begin to gather and swirl, and suddenly the single bolt of lightning strikes into one of these things. How much damage was it?
6 points of lightning.
Really?
I rolled
Rough.
3 2s, I know.
That's unfortunate, yeah. Okay. So it strikes the first one. You can see lightning go across its body and then spread into each of these zombies directly near it. It's quite a few of them. You're outdoors. There's not stormy conditions. Okay, so all of them are taking 6 points of damage. You can see just sparks beginning to ripple off of all of them. There is a small cluster of smoking zombies. And then you teleport into the space in the middle of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is I'm essentially shocking and we're moving progressively, if that makes sense.
Okay. Sure. I don't know if it's going to work the way that you're thinking it's going to work, but okay. So you disappear and reappear in the middle. You can smell burning flesh. You hear moaning zombies. And Yaba?
Does the chair teleport with me?
It does not. It is not a willing creature. Unless you're trying to hold on to it as you go, and you could try.
No, I think I would have just been like sitting there, and suddenly I'm teleporting again. I'm like,
You drop onto your feet, surrounded by sparking, burning zombies. A red sky overhead.
This isn't better.
Over top. 10 feet above you, there is a chain. At the end of this turn, it is going to be gone. Just as a heads up.
Oh,
but
are we in initiative now?
No, I'm going back and forth between the two, but you're going to have a chance to act in just a second.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Because of how this is going to work, if you want to grab this chain, do it now.
Yeah, I think I want to grab the chain.
Okay.
Last stop.
Make an athletics check. Ire, seeing what you're doing, is going to try to do it as well. Okay. Sophia, are you doing anything?
I mean, am I able to do anything?
You can try to jump up and grab this chain. You can see the two of them doing it. If you want to, now's the time.
Sure. I'll give it a shot.
Okay. Make an athletics check.
That was a 23 for me.
Okay. And yeah, it leaps and just one arm grabs the chain and off, and you are flying through the air. Fades off into the distance.
That's a 14.
14? Okay. You reach up and grab it, and as you do, your fingers pinch between two of the links, and you have to yank back, and it disappears off. You watch as Ire leaps up and doesn't even get close to it. Lands the chainmail going, and you see Inyaba fly off of the chain, whipped around. Inyaba, go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw. You pull 60 feet super quick. You are flying through the air. Your eyes water with the speed of the oxygen as it goes by. You hear underneath you just groans of zombies, burning buildings, collapsing structures. What are you doing?
Is this against an effect that I can see?
Are you trying to use your
my advantage on dex saves against effects that I can see?
No, because dodging this is letting go of the chain that is about to try to whip you into the ground. So
okay, that's an 18. So
18, no problem. As you see the chain.
I'm getting the hell out of here.
The scream, and as it goes up, and you realize you're about to be slammed into the ground as the chain hits the ground and goes up the tower. You let go, and there's a moment of brief free fall. You see the chain into the ground. The stone cracks. You are glad that you let go. And as it slams up and pulls up the side, you grab on again and are whisked into a window.
Wow.
You
was
appear in a bedroom as the chain into the wall. And as it hits the wall, you feel the whole structure begin to collapse down. Ommieh, from your standpoint, off and to the right, you hear the sound. You see this drow turn looking sharply. Yeah, you see the drow turn looking sharply. They pull the hood back up over their face and begin to walk in that direction. But you also feel suddenly the building, the whole structure begin to descend into the ground. As the chains continue to pull through, it's as if they are pulling the entire building beneath. From your perspective, Sophia, you watch as the entirety of this black structure, almost 90 feet tall at its peak, disappear into the ground, the dirt covering it. You watch as buildings, trees all roll into the space before it is just a dusty pile. You can see broken zombies kind of protruding from areas, also pulled into what is essentially a sinkhole. You see here and there just one or two of these chains remaining, still anchoring it to the city. You would imagine it could reemerge at some point. However, you and Ire, Sophia, now standing out in this open field of burning zombies, a street going both ways, hundreds and thousands of them pouring over the hillside, still falling off of the cliff. You see them splattering on the bottom before they begin to pull their broken bodies towards you. And suddenly, in the midst of all of this, they all stop at the same time. You can see this red sun seems to almost intensify. Around you, you feel this almost static in your ears. You see next to you, Ire kind of not slump forwards, but you can see it's as if his shoulders become heavy on his body. He sags down. You feel a sense of almost overwhelming despair. You turn, you can feel eyes on you. You feel all of these eyes on you. Every single creature staring at you and Ire. And as you turn, you can see and look at the very top of this cliff, maybe 100 feet away at this point, an Aarakocra wearing orange, blue. You can see there is a place for a spear behind them, but it is missing. The wings behind completely broken. You can see feathers sticking out at weird angles, dried blood matted into them. Matt, you see Rezekiel kind of leaning over. This Aarakocra's eye is dead, but still actively scouring this field until they lock on yours, Sophia. And in your head, you can just hear, the surface is finally prepared, and Zystris will rise again. I approach. And you can see now, just off the ground, this Aarakocra, the wings broken, not moving, just lift 5 feet and begin to descend this cliffside. You can see all of these zombies, the ones that are near him, drop with his passage. You can see the life force from them seeming to sap into the air, this dark mist, and then into this body. And you can see the wings begin to kind of right, and elements of the feathers almost adhere back into the corpse. But this is an undead creature, and beneath it, you sense something so alien that as it gazes into your eyes, you can feel the fingers of madness pulling at the edges of your mind. But because it is 11:53, and because you guys decided to just burst off to random different directions, that is where we're going to end for the evening. So, very technically, all of you survived. Unclear how well Sophia is going to do. Also very unclear as to how well Inyaba is going to do in the Church of Tarog / the Net Assembly kind of satellite base here. But yeah, that's going to be really interesting. But Olive, thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So fun.
Yeah. And then so a lot of really interesting things for people who have followed along for the campaign for a long time. There's some interesting things that are occurring. First of all, I don't know if anybody really picked up on this, but for Ommieh. Ommieh, where was Ommieh previous to this?
Where was I previous
Yeah.
to this? Meandering around the countryside with, looking for something to do, basically. But I came from Zarsenfell and then found my way to Darkmoore.
Yeah. And who did you travel with?
Oh, who did I travel with? I was traveling with the Mud Brothers crew on the Raging Harmony until it got destroyed.
Not destroyed, but pretty
Ooh.
badly damaged.
Right, yeah, until it got damaged. Found my way
And
here.
then, for those of you who do not know who Razakiel is, that was Matt's character in A Tome in the Desert, another one shot that was about a year ago at this point. And it seems we know who this Alhoon chose as a host.
Well, that's kind of nice. Good to
Is-
know.
Is it?
You know, I mean, it's better than being outright killed. At
I
least
guess.
now, like, actually, I guess it's the complete opposite of the spirit living on.
You would remember that this mind flayer did say that perhaps he would let the other person live. So who knows? Maybe Tina, your character is just doing great.
Just
Probably
like
not.
sunshine
Probably not.
and lollipops.
Probably not.
As you look around at this like zombie apocalypse happening.
Probably not.
Also, that the two of you, Tina and Matt, you guys would remember as Shay and, well, formerly as Gunter, you had heard that Darkmoore had gone silent a couple of weeks ago. And so now Matt and Tina have an idea as to why.
Because of zombies.
Zombies.
So you guys fucking up the campaign almost a year ago is now coming back.
Oh my god.
But
Wow.
thank you guys very much for hanging out and hanging out with us for this one shot, High Noon Red Sun. Next week, we will be back to our regular scheduled campaign for session 69, which is a funny number. But also, when you count in our pre-streamed sessions, we're getting close. We're actually getting close to like 90. Yeah. So this is this is the longest campaign that I have ever run now, I believe. But next Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Twitch. Come and hang out if you want. We'll see you then. Otherwise, have a great night and stay safe.
Bye.